public eye as well. Public, Dunzo, save. Whoa!
Whoa.
Guess I'll don't forget to tweet about it this time, like I like to do. And then people complain, "You didn't do it, you fool!" I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
I'm just doing my best here, man. We all make mistakes sometimes.
Do, do, do. So, hello. Oops. Well, let's try that again. There we go. Tweet. Hello. The chat is coming in. What's up?
Look at them. They're Kuman. Over that 69.
The Kuman from that 69. Episode 69. Whoa.
We made it.
Nice. We did it. Pack it in, boys. We won't be topping that one. Boo, turn off the stream. Okay. What's going on, everyone? Didn't expect you to cover this one. Well, no one is, so yeah.
No,
I'm not surprised you are surprised.
Not a lot of talk about this one.
No, it really isn't a lot of talkings about this. I wonder what's the box office so far. I haven't even checked that one yet. No.
We can look it up. Let's see. Knock at the Cabin. Box office. Well, first I want to see the budget.
Right.
$20 million budget. Okay, let's see if they can
Box Office
earn it back.
Mojo.
Box Office Mojo is such a great website.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So let's see.
So far at 36.
Yeah, 36.7.
It'll probably make its money back.
Yeah, it's gonna make its money back. But I don't know if it's gonna go much further than that because Ant-Man is coming out and theaters are just gonna be flooded with that. Yeah. Because Ant-Man gets like
69
screenings a day in my local cinema. I was like, oh.
Yeah, same here.
And this one gets like 2. And yeah, not even anything
Metal,
special.
are you saying that M. Night Shyamalan doesn't have the same pull that he used to?
You know what? I think that is exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, no one really cares about that movie. I feel like it's weird. I just randomly found it because I was like kind of planning out my year. So what's going on in these months? Like, oh right, I have like a gap like this week. I was like, okay, what's coming? I was like, oh,
what's out?
That's a Shyamalan movie. What's that about? It's like, oh, that's a neat little premise.
It is a neat premise.
That could be fun, good and stuff. I wasn't even aware it was based on the book. I was like, hey, you can probably do some fun stuff with this. So yeah, I put that in here, and then I grabbed you, good old Capital. I was like, are you gonna watch any of those movies? I was like, yeah, weirdly enough, I am gonna watch that one.
I know, surprising as it may seem. Now, I have AMC A-List, which is like a subscription thing for the theater, so you pay a certain amount a month, and then you can watch as many movies as you want, cool. Basically, which is the only reason I saw this movie, I would say, because it didn't cost me any extra.
Yeah, that's
and
nice.
Also, there's nothing else good out right now.
Don't worry.
Except for some things that are in theaters still because they got nominated for Oscars. Other than that, there's nothing else worthwhile. So I'm like, all right, I guess we'll watch an M. Night movie. Why not? Haven't seen one of his in a while. Let's see if he's gotten any worse.
I'm pretty sure I checked it like 7 times already, but I already forgot again what he did last.
I think Old was the last movie he did. Did you see that one?
Oh wait, is that with an island where they age or something?
Yeah, where they age really quickly. I didn't watch it, but I heard
I meant to watch
bad.
it because like that sounds weird. I kind of want to see that, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah, it's not very good from what I've heard. I think a lot of his movies are like that. You know, there's something to the premise, and you're like, oh, that could be good, maybe. But then it's him, so it isn't. I was wondering, because obviously M. Night Shyamalan first big, massive hit was The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one you think about. And Unbreakable, of course.
Unbreakable. Both pretty good movies. And I feel like he's been on a pretty steep decline ever since. So I was wondering, like, how is he still making movies? They're never very well reviewed. But then I realized that Split was kind of the thing that kept his career going. Did you see that movie?
Split? I don't even know about that one. A psycho thriller. Let's see.
Yeah, that one did pretty well at the box office. People seem to like it. I never saw it because I didn't have any faith in M. Night Shyamalan anymore. But I don't know. I think that was enough to kind of keep him coasting so that he can still make movies.
Well, you just need a hit once in a while. It's like, oh, he's actually still... Man, that had a budget of $9 million and made $278 million.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yep. And that's why we're here, watching Knock at the Cabin.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What did you think of it? What did you think of Knock at the Old Cabin?
I mean, this is episode 69, so I would have liked if there would have been some knocking up in that cabin. But yeah, it's not a sexy movie, so there's not a lot of innuendos to be had, I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that. No, I don't know. I just kind of watched it. I just took notes, and I was like, okay, we're just kind of trotting along. And it's like, oh, they do a little vacation here. That's neat. And then they all arrive, and they're like, oh, spooky, and then they start killing each other. And then they have to kill one of themselves, and then they save the world, I think.
Like that, yeah. So if you've seen the trailer, you know the whole premise.
Pretty much.
Because there's nothing outside of the trailer that like deepens the mystery or builds on the premise at all. Mm-hmm. And you get the whole premise within like the first, 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Two dads and their adopted Asian daughter are on vacation in some remote cabin. And then 4 mysterious strangers show up and say, we are here to prevent the apocalypse. And if you don't willingly kill one of the members of your family, the world's going to end. And you get all of that within the first 15 minutes. And then they just waste a lot of time, and the movie drags forever. And then eventually, spoilers, they kill one, and then they save the world. The end.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. There's no... You know what I was most shocked by is the lack of twist in this movie.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for, I don't know, actual Cthulhu to show up or
something.
Or, I don't know, some weird monster, and I don't know, this Cybermen start attacking the cabin and they shoot their way out. I don't know. Like, I thought something is going to happen. For sure.
Yes,
but...
I thought I could count on M. Night Shyamalan for a fun twist, but you can't even count on him for that anymore, apparently.
Well, I guess the only fun twist is for people who know the book. Because the way the book goes is a bit more, sad and...
Interesting.
Yes.
I don't think they're going to like that twist.
Yeah.
The change from the book. Yeah. So yeah, this movie is based on a book called The Cabin at the End of the World, which is a better title.
That's a pretty good title. I like it.
Better than Knock at the Cabin, that's for sure. And it's very similar in terms of the premise, but some things go differently, and some different characters die, and the ending is very different. I suppose we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you wanted to approach this one.
I guess we can just go from the start, I guess, because, my notes are in that order, so. But yeah, basically, it's just a girl hanging out, capturing some grasshoppers, puts them in a glass jar and writes down all the colors and gives them names, and she names some of them after friends in school, and apparently one of them farted once and was like, that wasn't me, and tells the cricket not to do that, please, or the grasshopper.
Yeah, I suppose that's meant to be funny.
Yeah, the thing is, I've written that down, And the next thing I write, I swear to God, if the twist is in this movie is that they went after someone in the cabin because of this list or something, or there's something to do with the grasshoppers, I'm gonna flip my shit. But no, this actually doesn't mean. I don't know if it doesn't mean anything, but it's not important to the movie, I think.
No, it's not really.
I think it's just something she does.
She's just a quirky little kid. Not an especially good actress. See, I was kind of hoping this movie would be more funny bad. You know?
Yeah, maybe.
You know what? Maybe this movie will be so bad it's hilarious. And it has moments of that for sure. But for the most part, it's just kind of.
Yeah. Apparently, that was her first ever movie as well, or at least first.
Well, it
big
doesn't
budget
surprise
one.
me. She's not very good. Sorry, little girl, but she's not a very good actress.
Yeah. I wasn't blown away either. It was yeah, she was kind of there. But yeah, then Batista comes up. It kind of looks like a creepy stranger, like a big old lad with like a shirt on, like he's coming straight out of school as a teacher, which he is. He teaches in 2nd grade, I think he said at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Hey, what's your name?" And she's like, "Well, my dad's telling me not to talk to strangers." Like, "Oh yeah, that's smart. But here, I'm Leonard. I'm gonna help you catch grasshoppers," and he does. And just kind of tries to, I don't know, gets familiar, and so that she isn't scared.
He's a little creepy, but you can tell he's trying. Like, there's something genuine about him.
Yeah,
I actually. And I'm sure we'll have more reason to talk about this later, but he's the best part of the movie, and it's not even close.
Dude, yeah, but Dave Bautista, he did a very good job. I was very happy with his performance.
Oh yeah, he's so good.
It's so funny to me to see him these days in all these movies, because I've first known him when I was watching the wrestling.
Oh yeah,
as the big old guy that beats people up. and now it's like all these movies, and he's doing really well. Because I've seen other wrestlers go into movies and they don't do that well.
No, they don't. Sometimes they're all right.
Yeah.
Was John Cena a wrestler? He's all right.
Yeah.
But Dave Bautista is very good in this movie, and I think it's a shame. If you watch this movie, there are moments when Dave Bautista is pretty funny, and the writing for him is kind of funny in an absurd sort of way. And I was like, this is fun. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's the only one trying to make the movie funny or interesting. Everyone else is playing it very serious and straight. Like, no, you're supposed to take this very, very seriously. This is very emotional. It's very heartbreaking. But Dave Bautista's like kind of having fun. He's not joking around. But
No.
His character is funny. And his performance is funny.
Kind of the character itself, because this big burly guy full of muscles, tattoos everywhere, and is like a 2nd grade teacher.
Yeah. And he's pretty nice too. He's very genuine.
He's very nice.
He's very sincere. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I was kind of rooting for him the whole time.
Yeah. Me too. It's like, come on, just stab him or something. I don't know. But yeah, he keeps like checking over to the woods, and he's like, what's going on over there? I was like, I was doing, so it's all good. And then they just kind of start talking. He does live with a game where he has like a flower. You have to take out the petals, and every time you take one out, you ask a question, the other one has to answer. And they just
trying to build rapport with the girl.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, and sometimes he says that my heart is broken. And when asked why is your heart broken, it's like, it's because of what I have to do tonight. Because it is something horrible. And then the other 3 of the group arrive menacingly,
carrying odd-looking homemade weapons of some kind.
Yeah, I wish I'd
what they are exactly.
I wish I had pictures of the weapons, because like some weird weapons they had to build from the visions they got, but we'll get there. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I gotta go now. You're all creepy," and she runs home quickly, and Batista just kind of yells, "Tell them to let us in. You gotta talk. It's very important." And it's all quite creepy, Heimers.
Yeah, the movie starts off pretty all right. You know, aside from her kind of lackluster child acting, what I liked about the beginning is that, like, oh, we're not wasting any time, are we?
No.
Like, basically all the information you get from the trailer is kind of established in that first 5-10 minutes, and you're like, oh, okay, we're just breezing right along.
Yeah, but don't worry, we'll waste enough time along the way, so it's fine.
Yes. There's plenty of time to waste later, okay?
It's those flashback scenes are so useless.
I don't know. So useless.
Everything okay, I have to stop myself. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, but also it's also kind of nice because we get to see his character already, and you can already tell whatever is going on right now, he's not really on board with it, but he seems to be forced to do so. Be it he's like used like a puppet by someone, if he's getting threatened by the other ones. We don't know that yet. I mean,
yeah, he's very sincere.
Yeah.
If he's delusional or if he's being, somehow manipulated, he definitely doesn't seem to be a bad person. So one of the things I found most interesting is kind of like a home invasion, but the people invading the home are kind of reluctant.
Yeah, that's
kind of interesting.
That's pretty neat. But yeah, she runs home. That's like, the strangers, they're kind of creepy. They're coming right here, and they're just like, oh god, it's Jehovah's Witnesses or something. I was just kind of annoyed. It's like, oh, I just want to do a little vacation here or whatever. But yeah, she's very insistent, and they close the doors, and then they're already here. We're getting right in there. There's not like we wait until evening when they're asleep. It's like, nope, they
start breaking in pretty much right away.
As Leonard says, like, we're on our way, and then you have like the scene where the four are behind the door. They knock at the cabin, if you will.
That's the title of the movie.
It is. And they're like, no, we will not want to let you in here.
Please go away.
Please go away. I just want to have a vacation. They're like, okay, go on. This is really important. It would be very much easier if we can get in here. Because
I like the way Dave Bautista plays it in this scene too, because he's on the other side of the door and we don't see him, but he's like, hey, we just want to talk, and I feel like it'd be much easier to talk face to face. So, like, we just need to have a conversation. It's very important. It's creepy, but there's something genuine about him. Like, he's trying really hard to be non-threatening, but he knows that he is coming across as threatening.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Weird dissonance there.
Because, well, it's four strangers to some they go to some family. They're in their little cabin in the woods and just want to hang out. And he realizes they're threatening, especially with those weapons. Because they kind of check through the window and check them out. It's like, they have like weird weapons, and they do have weird weapons because it's either Andrew or Jonathan. No, Eric. Sorry. Actually, little fun tidbit while I was making notes. I kept writing down the actor's first name. So my notes had Jonathan everywhere, and all of a sudden someone said Eric. I was like, wait, hang on.
Who's Eric?
Who's Eric? It's like, oh.
Yeah, so it's Jonathan Groff is one of the two dads. I don't know the other one. Is the other one famous?
I'm so bad with actor names, so I don't know. He might be.
I like Jonathan Groff a lot in Mindhunter, but that's all I really know him from.
But yeah, they point out the weapons there because they have like, I think it was like a pickaxe with like a mallet on chains on the bottom or something. One of them
had weirdly medieval, kind of impractical pseudo medieval weaponry. I don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah. Let me just go through the trailer thing. If maybe we can see them somewhere, but I don't think you can actually see them. No, that's just Batista's big ass hand.
He's a big dude. How tall is he?
He's pretty tall.
Bautista.
Okay, great. The trailer only has the thing where see it through the window, so you can't really see it that well.
He's 6'4". Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, they don't want them to come in, and they're like, "Please, we'd really like to come in." And then they start breaking into the house, and a fight breaks out.
I like how easily they break in as well. It's like,
yeah,
well, there's a window. Smashing that in and opening up the door.
Yeah, the beginning of this movie moves along pretty quickly. I like it.
Yeah.
Like, shit, we're doing that already. Okay,
we're getting
That's fun.
We're getting somewhere. I'm on board so far. I'm on board. I'm fine. It's like creepy dudes and lasses with some weird ass weapons. And I think one of the weapons is like a pick, and there's like something on the bottom, like a spike or something. I don't know. It's weird weapons. So yeah, they just kind of have a fight, and Andrew starts beating up Redmond, which is Mr. Grint.
Rupert Grint from Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Where did my... No, come back, Notepad. You're ruining my flow. There we go. So he beats them up. Eric is kind of fighting off Sabrina, which has like another weapon. But she manages to trip him over at some point, and he falls over and knocks his head hard and passes out immediately.
Yeah, nice little off switch.
Yeah.
Very classic movie trope. But at least they treat it seriously afterwards, like he's concussed.
Yeah, he's heavily concussed, and they kind of make that a thing in the movie as well. Because he starts to just kind of like, maybe they're onto something. It's kind of weird. This is his husband, or are they married then? I don't know. Doesn't matter really. But he's like...
I think they're married, yeah.
Okay. He's like, you heavily concussed, you better don't talk anymore. It's like, at some point, he's like, that's mean. But yeah, there's...
So they wake up and they're all tied up, right?
Well, Batista, or Leonard rather, grabbed Wen, and it's like, we better stop now. And then they tie them to some chairs. Not Wen though, only the two boys.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't tie up Wen.
Probably because they didn't. I feel like because they thought it was too cruel, because they're all just
maybe
normal people. It's still kind of weird because she tries to escape at some point and almost succeeds. So
yes, it probably would have been smarter to tie her up.
It definitely would have been.
And then we get the premise, right? They pretty much... Do they jump right into explaining why they're there?
Let me see. Is there a flashback here, or is there... I don't know. Let's see. No, that's where they introduce themselves. Yeah. There's no flashback yet. That's later. So yeah, they just kind of one after another introduce themselves. We got Sabrina, who apparently used up all her savings to meet up with these guys. And she's a nurse. Then we get Leonard, which we already know the name, but we also learned that he's a second grade teacher. Which, well, explains why he's so caring for Wen, because she's like in the in the age with the kids.
That's true, yeah.
He works with. I think he also later says that he coaches some more children as well. Mm-hmm. Then we have Redmond, who seems to be a bit of a hard ass.
He's a little more agitated than the others in the group,
which I quite like.
Everyone else in the group is like, okay, so they start one by one introducing themselves and giving their whole backstories. Meanwhile, our two dads are like, what is happening? What are you here for? Will you please just get to the point? But the people who've arrived, they're trying to make sure they they're trying to build rapport. They're trying to say, hey, we're real people, we're not here to do you harm. Like, I'm a line cook, I like feeding people.
Yeah.
And they're like, please get to the point. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Why do you have us tied up?
Yeah, he did this bunch of stupid stuff as a kid, got beat up by his dad, like Andrew beat up him just now, which was a kind of fun line. And yeah, it's also very annoyed that they wasted a bunch of time having to wait for Erigo there to wake up after he got knocked out. And this is where Sabrina also says, like, yeah, he's heavily concussed, he's probably a bit out of it. And Leonard's like, come on, man, we talked about this. Just, if you scare them, it's just going to make it harder. And as he already said, like, the two guys are just like, you guys are crazy. What is happening? What is going on? Why are you pretending like you're nice? Because there's also this part, because he put on the TV, and there's like some kids show running. He's like, oh yeah, they teach you about like...
oh, is that this part? Because I like that scene a lot.
Yeah, I think it's like somewhere in here, I'm pretty sure. And it's like, yeah, it talks about being nice and polite to people. And then I think it's Andrew who's like, really? You're talking about being nice and polite to people after you beat us up and locked us on these chairs?
Yeah, so they have a kids show playing for Wen, so they can keep her entertained. And I like the way he plays it too. He's like, I've never seen this show, but it looks nice. It looks like it teaches you valuable lessons about empathy and understanding.
Right.
And that's the kind of stuff I liked when it was kind of absurd in a funny sort of way. I was like, oh, this is fun. There's something interesting happening here. And almost all of it comes from Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
With the writing and his performance, like, he's trying very hard to make this funny and not super serious.
Yeah.
Super serious, dramatic movie.
Someone just said, no need to humanize yourselves, home invaders. Get to the point.
Please, I don't care that you're a line cook. Please tell me why you have me tied up.
Do we want money? Just tell us. I'm really uncomfortable. And we probably need to go to the hospital.
Talk about Jesus.
You're going to talk about Jeebus. Yeah, and then we have Adrian, which is the lady who cooks food for people, I think in a Mexican restaurant or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're all pretty clear. Like, they're all pretty nervous. And like, this is kind of awkward. Like, it's nothing we do normally. With the exception of Redmond, who is, I don't know, he just seems kind of angry and annoyed.
Yeah, he wants them to get to the point as well.
Yeah, because he
it doesn't matter who we are. Please, we're here for a purpose. And
right.
There's also the implication that they're running out of time.
Exactly.
Like that's mentioned a few times.
Yeah, and then Leonard in the end also makes it clear. It's like, hey, we're just normal people like you are. And actually, we haven't met until today. We didn't even know who will be in this cabin as well. We only knew we have to get here and have to tell you guys what we're about to tell you.
Yes, they've all experienced independent, well, they claim that they've all experienced independent visions that have brought them here.
Yeah.
Visions of what's to come that they'll talk about, and then visions of what they need to do, which is come to this house and have a very important conversation with this family here. Yeah. But they all claim that they didn't know who would be here, which is an important point because the two dads are more convinced that they're being attacked or, they're being targeted because they're gay. Mm-hmm. That's what they think is happening because they think these are some weird, zealous Jesus freaks who are there to punish them or something. And they're like, no, we swear to God, we didn't know you were going to be gay. That wasn't part of it. I swear to God, we're not homophobic.
We didn't even know there's going to be a same-sex couple in here. It's just
that was kind of funny the way Dave Bautista played that too. And he's like, no, I swear to God, like, we don't have a homophobic bone in our body. I swear.
Yeah.
they're like defensive about it, which is funny.
Yeah. So yeah, and apparently they were brought together by conversions, as you already said, in the past week, and they have been led here to prevent the apocalypse.
Oh my goodness!
And
not the apocalypse. That would be bad.
The problem is they're only here to basically tell them what's up, and the three have to choose among themselves who will be the sacrifice. But the rules are they can't kill themselves. And we can't kill you. It has to be someone from you three, and someone from you has to kill the other one.
Yes, let's talk about that. So, you guys, this family has been chosen. Why? Who fucking knows? But this family has been chosen to make a sacrifice to prevent the apocalypse. And so one of you has to die. I don't know how I feel about the you can't kill yourself part of it. Because like, why shouldn't one of them be able to sacrifice themselves willingly? Why does it have to be that someone else in the family kills them?
It feels just a rule to make it more cruel for the premise, I think.
Yeah, it does. It makes it more cruel, and I'm not sure what that says about the moral implications of the movie, that it has to be cruel. You know what I mean? Because you might expect something like this to be more about, oh, well, sacrificing someone else to save the world is kind of immoral, but sacrificing yourself to save the world, that's a bit more noble, that you can't do that. Like, you have to, someone else has to kill you. Like, that's such an odd choice. I don't get it.
And the thing is, we also don't know mechanically how far these rules go. Like, what so here's the thing. I have these visions, right? And they're very specific. They tell me all these rules somehow, as someone just pointed out also out in chat. Like, those visions were very specific with all these rules. And it was like, okay, they have to kill each other. We can't kill them. Okay, what if I just give that little child a weapon and then yell at the child that is 7 years old for so long until it stabs one of them and kills them, or put a gun in their hand or something? Because I assume it's pretty easy to bully a 7-year-old child into shooting someone.
Easier than an adult, probably.
Yes. And if I'm very convinced
the gravity of what's happening,
that the apocalypse is happening, and I had these visions like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that so I can save all of humanity, I think that horrible thing I need to do for that is probably worth it for the rest of the world.
Probably. It's interesting. So the reason, obviously, that they don't decide, okay, well, we believe you, and so we'll kill one of us and save the world right now, is because at first they go, you guys are fucking crazy. What are you doing here?
Yeah, of course that won't just work instantly.
Yeah. No, and they spend basically the entire rest of the movie being like, we don't believe you, we don't believe you, we don't believe you, prove it, we don't believe you. It gets very repetitive in the middle here.
Yeah,
but that's the basic premise, right? You have to kill one of your family to save the world. We can't do it for you. It has to be a sacrifice, but you can't sacrifice yourself. That part really rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about it, but that's the basic premise. And if you don't make that choice, then all these apocalyptic things will happen. I think he mentions that the seas will rise and
the oceans will rise. The oceans will rise. A pandemic will spread. The sky will fall, and darkness will envelop the earth. I think he says it even more dramatic than that. It's like the skies are falling to the earth like glass or something, like that.
It's sort of poetic the way he describes it. Very, like a biblical apocalypse, not the specific biblical apocalypse, but it's presented in that sort of language. And you got to make the choice soon. He doesn't give an exact time, but it's like the longer you wait, the longer, the worse things are going to get. Oh, but importantly, when the world ends, quote unquote, it won't properly end. It's just everything will be destroyed, and the only people left will be you three.
Yeah.
To roam the wasteland forever. I'm like, that's weird. So like everything will die except you. And you'll just
thanks, random apocalyptic being, just for being a dick.
Yeah, but like it doesn't make any sense. Like, you're gonna roam the wasteland. If it's all a wasteland, you're gonna die pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, I was about to point that out. She was like, you've seen everyone die, and now you can starve. It's like, cool.
Though it does sort of imply some sort of supernatural thing would just keep them alive. You know what I mean? Because if they're going to wander the wasteland for eternity, I guess that's like a weird vision of hell, I guess. Is that what they're going for? I don't know. It's very strange.
I guess so. Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. But yeah, they tell them that. And of course the family's like, you are delusional.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that, thanks.
And Andrew at this point, so it's like Eric is like the more calm calm guy, and Andrew is like angry. He's like, I will not choose anyone of my family. I'd rather watch humanity die 100 times over before choosing to kill anyone in my family.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I mean, you're a bit angry right now. You think they're insane. I kind of hope for humanity you wouldn't make that choice when you actually had it.
Yeah,
but I get it.
Strange.
Probably just angry. I understand.
He's just angry. I think the more salient point is that I don't believe any of what you're saying to me right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But he jumps right to, even if that was all true, I still wouldn't do it because fuck humanity. And it's like, oh, okay. I don't know if I like you very much.
Yeah, he's a bit angry. But yeah, it's like, oh, you might want to. Maybe he's gonna come around. We'll see. When Eric is like, well, hey, you're here to talk. Let's talk. I'm sure we can help in some way. Like, visions can have all kinds of meanings and stuff.
Yeah, he says, people have dreams all the time. We can talk about what your dreams might mean.
Yeah,
that isn't this exactly.
And then Redmond's like, oh, this is a fucking waste of time. They aren't gonna pick, and I can't blame them who could pick in such a scenario anyway. Of course, he's like, man, we're just wasting time. We have to wait for him to wake up and everything. And yeah, shit's about to go down. And
so what happens first? Do they turn on the TV now, or is it
no, I think it's after. So they then start their little thing where they get their weapons and talk about, it's like, oh, we had all these visions and stuff, blah blah blah. And then they start sacrificing one of themselves every time they ask the questions to choose. Here's my question. Why are they doing that?
I don't know. This is another part of the rules, apparently, that they didn't mention originally, but the longer you wait, will the apocalypse get worse and worse, seas rising, rivers turning to blood, all that fun stuff. But in the meantime, we're going to start killing ourselves. I don't know why. This is just apparently something they were compelled to do by their visions as well. So the first one is Redmond. He gets down on his knees. You can kind of see it in the thumbnail for this dream. He puts a white cloth bag thing over his head, says something ominous. Do you remember what he says? Like, part of humanity has been judged or something like that?
Yeah, they say that every time. A part of humanity has been judged. And it kind of implies that after they do that, the things start happening, but it doesn't, because the first thing that comes up is like, oh, there's this, there are these tsunamis going around.
So them killing themselves doesn't seem to affect whether apocalyptic things are happening around them or not. No,
because the first thing anyway, the first tsunami we hear about already happened like hours ago. Like they evacuated the place. It's like, oh yeah, the early detection thingies have found that. But then the next one starts, and that's like super close to the shorelines, and people just get fucked up.
Yes. So before we get to that, he kneels down, he puts the bag over his head, says part of humanity has been judged, and then the others take their giant, strange homemade weapons and then just beat Redmond to death.
Yeah, they just stuck everything in their head, and then I think Lana just does the coup de grace, if you will, and just make sure he's actually dead.
They don't seem like they're happy to do it, but none of them seem to hesitate either, which I also find very strange.
Yeah, they're all. It's like it's like a ritual they've done a million times. What I do like a lot though is the acting of Redmond.
Yeah,
because he's like, fuck, I'm scared. I'm so fucking scared because I'm gonna die now, and I don't really want to die. And
but then they kill him, and then the second best actor is out of the movie, which
is
a shame.
I was annoyed.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
Not only because I liked his acting, but I think he provided a nice bit of flavor for being the one in the group
to everyone else. Yeah,
that's not like, oh god, this is also. Oh, shit. He was like kind of calm. He like kind of went with it, but was also a bit angry. I think it would have been a nice thing to have almost until the end.
Yeah, because I don't give a shit about either the other two that aren't Dave Bautista. So there's 2 men and 2 women. Dave Bautista, Rupert Grint, and then I don't know the other actors at all. They're not especially strong performers, and their characters aren't especially interesting. Yeah. So I'm like, why did we keep them around? They're not interesting at all. You'd think you'd keep Rupert Grint around for longer, especially given what they do with flashbacks in his character.
Right.
But I also hate that, so.
Again, very specific visions. Yeah.
Asking who wrote this. So as far as I am aware, it might be better written in the book, but so far everything that we've talked about is 1 for 1 what happens in the book.
Okay.
The basic premise is the same.
Right.
Like I said, certain details might have been better written, less clunky, maybe different dialogue. I'm not sure. I haven't read it. But when I was reading the plot synopsis for the book, it deviates wildly in a little bit. But for now, it's pretty beat for beat.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know why they start killing themselves off. I don't know why.
No, I don't know why either. It doesn't make any sense.
Because I tried to check again, but there's nothing about it. It's not like, oh, we need to do this so we can slow it for a little bit so you can make your next choice.
No, it doesn't seem to.
And it's also.
Wait, does it delay? Does it delay the next?
I don't know. The thing, the way it's presented, it's almost like as soon as they do that, shit starts to go worse.
Yeah. No, you're right. So I think nominally the point is that's if they sacrifice themselves, they give them longer to decide. But like you said, as soon as he kills him, as soon as they kill Rupert Grint, then the first tsunami happens.
The second one. The
thing is, you're right.
Apparently, the apocalypse has already started. It's the same with the next one. It's the pandemic. Oh yeah, this has been happening for months already. I was like,
exactly. So it doesn't seem to have any effect at all. They're all just convinced by their visions that told them very specifically, if they don't decide, you need to kill yourselves one by one.
Yeah,
and that will have an effect, I guess.
But we don't even get anything from the group as well. Not like, hey, the visions told us we have to do this or whatever. It's just they just start doing it.
No, they don't say anything about it. They just do it. And if they seem intent on convincing our 2 dads that they're not religious zealots. I think it's the African American lady. She says, I wasn't even religious before this happened, but I was just so moved by the vision. Like, I swear to God, we're not religious fanatics. Please believe me. But then they kill each other. They kill themselves off one by one, and they don't seem to be all that broken up about doing it either. And that's kind of punning against the idea that they're not really possessed by some sort of religious belief here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're not helping themselves and convincing this family that they're not weird religious extremists.
Yeah, and I guess they're kind of unlucky the way things pan out for them, that the first 2 things they have as evidence are things that already been happening. Man,
yeah,
if only the planes would have started falling first, maybe we would have been a bit more
if they started with the planes. Yeah,
because this was like, oh, there's a tsunami that's been detected before and evacuated, and there's a second one. And the other one that we get next is this pandemic that specifically targets children below 10, which is interesting.
Yeah,
but that's apparently a thing in the universe has been going on for months already.
True.
So Andrew,
Jose Gonzalez says they found out what movie they were in and started killing themselves. I think that's true.
That makes sense. So yeah,
So the first thing, like you said, you kind of said it already, but they turn on the TV to be like, look at what's about to happen. And first there was a tsunami somewhere off the coast of Hawaii, and they had enough time that they could evacuate people, so no one was killed. Mm-hmm. And so at first it's like, oh, well, that doesn't seem all that apocalyptic. But then as they're watching, breaking news, there's been another earthquake and another tsunami right off the coast of California, somewhere.
I don't remember. Some shoreline somewhere.
And basically within a few, while they're watching, there's a giant 50-foot tsunami that comes and just absolutely obliterates everyone on the beach. Now, the funniest part for me is that we're seeing this from what is supposedly cell phone footage from the beach.
It's like some live stream going on.
I guess they don't really make it clear that it's live, because you watch it and you go, how did they get that footage? Why was that person
There's
streaming?
Like a little thing.
What is happening?
There was a little thing in the top right where we have like this little live symbol.
Oh, did it?
But also viewer count, and it was like 4.6 thousand. Like it was like almost 5,000.
Oh, I missed that part.
So in my headcanon now, some popular streamer died in this movie while they were hanging out at the beach. Just taking photos.
Yeah, so they got absolutely wrecked. It's kind of funny that you could still see the stream after they were in the water. That was kind of funny too.
Yeah, it was one of those what's the company called? Is it Cat or something that make those mobile phones that are really good for construction or something?
Yeah. I'll say this, because we're gonna get a decent amount of news footage throughout this movie.
Right.
I found absolutely none of it believable at any point. It just felt so staged and not at all how the news would be treating these situations.
Yeah, because it's weird. They were going
artificial,
because they were going through the first tsunami. It's like, yeah, this is this, and then you have like the little expert that, oh, it's like 8 point blah 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 earthquake in the sea, and then this happened, and there's probably another one happening, and then during that, all of a sudden, breaking news. Wait, F. Did the stream die?
I don't know.
No
F for me. Says too spooky for me.
Okay. Well, I guess we good.
Well, if it's still running for him,
I think we should be good. It's choppy for me. Looks all. Stream good.
The F is for the streamer.
Oh.
Hopefully it was for Hassan.
Thanks for saying my name. I can go now. Bye. I got my kick. I got my adrenaline.
Sweet dopamine.
So yeah, during that breaking news, they get the breaking news, and it's like, I remember it's like some weird footage from like a satellite camera almost, and they show I don't know what it was, like tectonic plates breaking in itself, and then it almost looked like an explosion in the ocean, the way the footage showed. I wish I had the footage, because it looked like
that's what it's supposed to look like.
It looked like an explosion from above, like a nuke went off.
Yeah, it did.
And then it's like really close to the shorelines. Then we get this footage. It's like, I don't know, 50, 60 feet high waves, and shit's fucked or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's very weird news. That is true.
But of course, our two dads are like, there was a tsunami. That stuff happens. That doesn't mean the world's ending. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna kill a member of my family just because a tsunami happened somewhere. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Especially because we already had an earthquake, and afterquakes are very common. So yeah,
true.
I get it. Not very convincing yet. But what also happens during that thing, they show that Eric seems to see some kind of light thingy behind the group. I was confused at first. I was like, is it just confused by the reflection? Because in the movie, it just looks like a reflection from the sun. But he just kind of
looks like the light's really bright in the mirror.
Yeah,
and he's also concussed, so I'm not sure what's supposed to be so profound about it.
Yeah, I guess that's the idea. He's just like, oh, he sees something. But they also say he's like sensitive to light right now because of the concussion and everything. But yeah, I guess the implication is he saw something. It's like, ooh, maybe there's something to it. It's like the little first seed. So here's a funny bit. If you've seen the thumbnail for this episode, you can actually see like some kind of being behind the kneeling Redmond. That's not in the movie. I was looking for thumbnail picture. I found this, like, ooh, okay. And then I checked back on some dodgy version that I found on the website of the movie, and was like, was that actually in there? And no, that's not in there. It's a bit of a different angle, and all we get in the actual movie is
reflection
light
of the
reflection.
Light.
There's no being or anything.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
If it's in the trailer, you would think that was in the movie at one point, and then they took it out.
Right.
For some reason, which is interesting.
So yeah, I don't know why they did it, because it was I missed it so many times in the trailer. I just saw it this time because I like to go frame by frame, because I just like that frame for a thumbnail. It's like, wait, is there actually something behind him now? I was like, I don't think that was in the movie. So I checked back.
It wasn't,
like, no, that's
weird.
It's just light. Because in the thumbnail you can see it's like in front of the mirror. But there's just light coming from the mirror. So yeah. What were we about to say?
So how it works in the actual movie is that he just sees a bright light, and he's convinced he saw a figure in it, but we never see it.
Right.
Which is an interesting choice, ultimately kind of inconsequential, but strange.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is when we do flashback stuff, right? Because we got to figure out how to fill time somehow. Oh, right, because they say, well, if you won't decide, that's fine. You can have a little bit longer to decide. We'll just hang out here until tomorrow morning, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, I guess it wasn't all that urgent.
Nice little touch of character. I don't remember who does it, but they turn around when, so she doesn't have to see the killing.
Oh, yeah. That's something, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, this is also where I've written down. Wait, so did this start the apocalypse? Did this make it worse? If it makes it worse, how about you just don't kill each other? Would that be better?
I don't know. I think
is that how you don't
want to be?
Go ahead.
I think what they want to be the case is that they bought them more time by killing Rupert Grint, but
I guess so.
It's not very well communicated.
It looks like they just make it worse every time, and they also say, "Oh, a part of humanity has been judged." It's like, okay, so did you just unleash that apocalypse thing? That part was that you? But I don't think it was you, because it was already going on. So you just made the thing that was happening worse. How about you just?
It would have been better probably if they saw the tsunami and then killed Rupert Grint, to be like, well, that'll hold them off for now.
Yeah,
I guess something.
Yeah, it's weird.
Not a whole lot better, but a little better.
At least I would understand why this is happening. For me, currently, it's just like, oh, why are you killing each other off? You just seem to make it worse. And from what I understand, you don't want it to get worse. You actually want them to decide pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm here for the becoming whole again. Is this the place? Sure, yeah.
Sure, why not? If you put your mind to it, anything is possible.
Yeah. So yeah, flashbacks. Oh, apparently there was a flashback earlier. I just started writing them down here, apparently. Yeah, there's a flashback a little bit earlier. I don't know when. It might actually have been between them being tied up. And
probably. Yeah, if it was anywhere.
But that flashback is, I don't know, like 2-3 minutes, and it's basically the parents come visit them, and they don't really talk that much, and apparently they were only there for like a little bit, and apparently they don't like that they're gay.
Yeah, so
and that's it.
Andrew's parents come to visit. They drive a few hours to go visit, and then they only spend a few minutes sitting in awkward silence, and then they leave.
Right.
And the whole idea is that, oh, they're not happy that he's gay and dating a man. And you're like, okay, I don't understand exactly what that's giving us for the story, but all right. Same with the other flashback. I think the first flashback is when they're just driving up to the cabin, right?
No, that's the third or fourth one, actually.
Oh, what was the first one?
That the one I just said is the first one.
Oh,
with the parents, that's the first one.
Gotcha.
It's also where they say it's like you and me together forever, because that's what they say at the end. So they kind of set that up, and that's, I don't know.
But that's so dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, dumb isn't the right word. It's unnecessary and adds nothing of value. It doesn't meaningfully change anything of the story. All that it really establishes is that his parents don't like that they're gay. And it's like, okay, that's not really relevant to anything. And they establish that they have a weird little catchphrase they say to each other.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, you, me, together forever. And it's like, well, I mean, I figured they loved each other because they're married and adopted a kid.
Yeah.
But I guess, sure, why not, I guess.
This
is when I started to realize that all these flashbacks are just going to be like, oh, we need to fill time. Okay.
Yeah, which is weird because it's quote unquote only 1.5 hours anyway. It's like a normal feature film length, right? So
yeah, but the amount of story they seem to actually have here is like it's almost like a short film's worth of story stretched out to a feature length film.
Yeah.
Because we get the whole premise, and spoiler alert, there's no interesting twist on the premise.
No.
They kind of wear them down over a long period of time. That's really the whole movie.
Yeah. Talking about adopting the kid, that's the second flashback. That's where they adopt Gwen. That's it. So apparently she has something on her lip.
Like a cleft palate. What do they call that?
I don't know how they call it. But that's something she has. They point that out. Leonard points that out earlier in the movie as well. It exists.
Yeah, that's all we really get of that. She's got a little surgery, a little scar for where she was born with a cleft lip, and we're like, okay. Yeah. And then we see them adopt Gwen, and they're happy about it. So like, okay, that's cool.
Hooray! It's like, yeah, you're happy, great. I mean, I already got that because you seem to care about her a lot when you're tied up. So it's such empty character building that we already got. It's like, you already showed us this, and you did fine.
We already
you don't need this.
Exactly. we already know that you care about your daughter. I mean, I don't hate seeing it, like, but it doesn't add anything.
Yeah.
Because we were doing so well in the beginning. We were moving at like a pretty great pace, and we're like, oh, we're not wasting any time. Here we go. Premise. Yeah. And we're into it. And now what do? We just grind to a halt so we can give you backstory that doesn't recontextualize anything. It just establishes what you probably would have assumed was the case already. It's like, oh, they adopted her. I knew that, actually. They love each other. I knew that already, actually. But thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty redundant. I don't know why we do it. It's really, I don't know. I don't like it. It's unnecessary. It's like legit feel like, okay, you're just kind of wasting my time now, for real. Like, I don't need this. Yep. I'm not stupid, okay?
I would have preferred more scenes of them talking to each other in the room.
Yeah.
And talking things through and trying to figure out what they can do and trying to come up with a plan, if they can, to try to manipulate the people that have them hostage. Things like that.
Yeah.
Would have been more interesting. There could have been, because I think they spend the night and they start again in the morning, but we don't see anything that happens at night.
No,
we
nothing.
Just skip right over that. I'm like, why not? They could have tried to talk to each other while the others were asleep. They could have been scheming things. There's all sorts of stuff we could do.
But yeah, we skipped the entire sleep part. Apparently just spent the night there. It's yeah. Let's see. They get rid of Redmond's body, but not before showing us that now they're freaked out by what just happened. I think Leonard is having a Pukenheimer's. The other one's kind of like, oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I get the reaction, but I don't get the ceremonial part of the killing they did without any hesitation. It's really odd.
Yeah, they did it without any hesitation. And so when they're like, oh my, I can't believe we did that, man. I'm like, what? I feel like the time to do that would have been, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
They kind of want to have it both ways. They want it to be creepy and ominous and ceremonial, but also like they're real people and they're supposed to be average people, but they don't act like it.
Yeah, at least not when it comes to actually doing the killing. They're just kind of, yeah, it's cool. It's like, okay.
And they get rid of his body. They just put it outside on the porch.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Right, then the whole news thing happens. We already went over that, and how weird it is that they actually do kill each other because we don't really know why. And yeah, they turn off the TV. Sabrina's like, "Oh man, I can't believe this is actually fucking happening." And yeah, then as you already said, like, yeah, tomorrow morning you get to choose again. Goodbye. We'll accommodate for you within reason, and hopefully you make a decision. And then Andrew again says, "I would rather watch the world die than making that decision." It's like, I hope you're gonna come around on this, if this is a real thing that's happening right now.
I don't quite understand his character, because he gets to that point later, but I feel like he wouldn't even be concerned with that. I don't know, if it were me, I wouldn't even entertain the idea, because I'd be so in disbelief of that any of this is real.
I wouldn't phrase it that way. I was just like, you just ever tell them that you're full of shit. I don't believe you. You're just crazy people. Yeah. I don't know why I would say, I'm not gonna kill them for the whole world. It's like, that wouldn't even cross my mind at the point. I would just like, I was gonna want you to be gone.
I would want you to be gone. No, I think a lot of people would just refuse to entertain it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's a horrible thing to have to think about. But he's already decided, essentially, no, I'd rather watch everyone die than kill one of my family members.
Because I thought this is going to be like a big conversation they have until when they realize this is real, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, sure, yeah, I guess we have to do this. But man, I really don't want you to die. I mean, I guess they kind of do that at the end, but I don't know. The end is kind of sped up, I think.
Yeah, it's the pacing in the beginning is really fast, and at the end it's very fast. But in the middle, it's just like, oh god,
yeah,
we're just waiting around for the inevitable.
Yeah, because I at that point I just want to see what they do next. Like, maybe they do something interesting next, because now they, I guess, established they do the plague thingies, but kind of not. I'm not sure. But yeah, Eric at the same time is more in like a trance and seems to think about the reality of the situation, maybe.
Yeah, he's quicker to believe that this is real.
Yeah, because
Andrew,
he had that vision of the light or something, or at least he thinks he did. Mm-hmm. But yeah, also he's also concussed, so I don't really, at this point, I didn't really know. It's like, I don't know what to think about his reasoning right now. He could just be, well, concussed and out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I guess they're trying to make the audience flip-flop if it's real or not at this point. But
yeah, I don't. Part of the problem is, and I think a lot of this is not the only movie that has this problem, where it's obvious from the way the movie is presented in terms of the tone and the music and the premise and the fact that it's a movie, that what's happening here is kind of supernatural. Right. You know, I'm watching this movie, and it would have been interesting. It would have been an interesting twist if this wasn't actually real and these people were delusional.
Yeah.
That would have been more interesting to me, and I would have preferred that. But I never really doubted that this was real the whole time I watched it.
Yeah.
Because I just know M. Night Shyamalan. I've seen a couple of his other movies. I just figured this is probably what's going to happen.
It's the problem with meta knowledge, right?
Yeah, it's part of it. And the fact that it's a movie. I think a lot of movies with supernatural premises, they often have characters. They sometimes have characters who aren't willing to conceive that something supernatural is happening. Mm-hmm. But as an audience, we buy into it so much more easily that there can be kind of a disconnect with the character who still doesn't believe something supernatural is happening, while the audience is like, yeah, I mean, there's a werewolf, of course there is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this movie kind of has that, where they really want it to be that you're like the dads, and they're like, you know, this isn't real. This definitely isn't real. But I'm watching it like, okay, so this is real, and I'm just waiting for them to come around.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you know, I thought I could count on M. Night Shyamalan for a fun twist. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe the twist is that they are delusional.
Yeah,
that could be interesting.
But no, I think with the third killing, it's just like, no, planes falling out of the sky, all of them. It's like, okay, yes. Okay.
Yeah, there's some sort of plausible deniability, of course, because the first thing is just, you know, a giant tsunami. Those happen. I mean, it was kind of cartoonishly big, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's as we're about to get to, there's a pandemic. You know, obviously those happen sometimes.
And that has already been going on. There was one
recently, you might have heard about it.
And there was one going on. This one in universe has been going on for months already. They already been reporting on that, so it's already been happening.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Where basically they're like, oh, it's time to choose again, and they say no. Mm-hmm. And then when I think they kill, no, they don't. Do they kill someone else?
Yeah, the one lady, Adrian, she's next.
Right. Yeah, so they kill her, same sort of way. They turn on the TV, and wouldn't you know it, there's a pandemic that's spreading. And it's like, they say something strange, like the pandemic started simultaneously in England, South Africa, and Tennessee.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
What? You know, just pick one place.
I do remember the map. And they had like the red thing where it happened is like one in Africa, one somewhere in America, and one in Asia or Europe or something. So like very far away from each other. And it's also specifically targeting young children specifically.
Yeah, I guess that's their way of distancing it from COVID. You know, whereas COVID doesn't really affect children as much. You know, it mostly affects elderly people and overweight people. So they're like, oh, this is different. This is definitely not a metaphor for COVID. It's different, I swear. And so they have it be that it mostly targets children. Also because I feel like it's kind of a cheap way of making you care more.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. It's targeting the kiddos.
Think of the
Aren't you
children.
sad?
Aren't you
Why
sad?
don't you think of the children?
Hollywood needs to stop trying to reference COVID. Oh, yes. Just have to think. It just brings me back to Glass Onion, and I don't want to talk about Glass Onion anymore because it sucks dick.
What if Ethan Hawke showed up and just gave all the kiddos a little shot in the mouth, like, you're cured?
Like, don't worry about it anymore. They're like, okay. Like, why did you even do that? It's so stupid.
I don't know why they didn't just pick one epicenter from where it started. And, well, I guess they probably didn't want anything controversial. They didn't want to be like, oh, it started in Africa, because they didn't want anyone to think they're being, I don't know, racist or something. So they're like, it started in 3 different places independently, I guess. So. I don't know. And none of them are like major hubs. I don't know. It's very strange.
It's some conspiracy.
Like, why Tennessee? Sure. Like, Nashville just had a big outbreak, I guess.
Anyway.
Is it supposed to be referencing the firstborns of Egypt?
Maybe?
I don't know. Like, it's killing all of the children? I guess. If there are biblical allusions, they're kind of muddy. They're not... Oh, that's something maybe worth talking about. In terms of the apocalyptic imagery, it's very... You know, it has all the language and trappings of some sort of religious apocalypse, but they're very, very deliberate in avoiding terms like God and things like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. Like, is this, like, I think they say stuff like higher power. It's very non-specific. It's not specifically Christian. It's not specifically anything. It's like a weird, vague religious apocalypse.
Yeah, it's, I guess it's just trying to avoid it. It's like, no, it's just some higher being. There's no Bibles here. Bibles are not allowed. I don't know.
Like, I don't know what this is supposed to be exactly. So that's, you know, thing number 2 is a plague that's mostly affecting children. Meanwhile, Andrew's like, look, these cases have been happening and they're getting worse, but this started months ago. So I don't see how this is relevant at all. I'm not going to kill anyone in my family over it. And it's like, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Before all that, we have a little scene between Sabrina and there it is. I wrote Jonathan. Eric. Because she's taking care of his head injury. And he just kind of tells him about her family, and that she understands that they probably think they're just some freak religious peeps. We're not, as you already said. I swear we're not crazy, even though we definitely look like we're crazy. And it's like, we gotta take care of that, but we need to be of clear mind. And then she suddenly asks him, have the visions started already? I'm just like, what? Why did you ask that? Why would you expect that to happen?
I don't know.
You confuse me, lady.
Was that part of their visions, that this family would also get visions?
I don't know, but she's asking. And obviously we as the audience like, oh, he did like the weird thing, so he has visions, I guess.
His aren't very specific. Everyone else had very specific, detailed instructions.
He just saw some light, and he's concussed.
Like, I think I saw a figure in the light, and naturally Andrew is like, I think you're just concussed, my dude.
Yeah. I think I saw something or someone is like, no, it's just light. We only saw light. Maybe he watched the trailer. That's why he saw a person. But yeah, she's like, oh yeah, you don't. I didn't believe it at first, but you will. She didn't believe it until she met up with the others today, and they had the exact clothes on, like in the visions. And she thinks it's for realsies, and we're all on the same side because we just wanna help the people of the earth, you know.
We just want to save the world.
We want to save that. We want. Save the world. And Andrew,
we don't like that we have to do this any more than you do.
Yeah. And then Eric's like, no, I'm on my family's side. And now I'm just like, so you're allowed to kind of convince them of your cause. It's like, oh, you have visions? It's like, okay, do something with that. Like, you kind of have him kind of tip into your side with this. Like, he's clearly listening to you, even though he is concussed. You probably want to take advantage of that more.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they spend a lot of time trying to convince them overall.
No, they're just like, have you decided? No. Look how the evil things are happening. That's your fault, basically. It's like, no, you're crazy. See? Now there's planes falling out of the sky.
We'll get to that.
That wasn't even that funny to me when I watched it, but now that I recount it, it's like, that's insane.
It is.
This is so funny.
At what point does Andrew start to suspect that Rupert Grint or Edmund was actually a guy that assaulted him once? How does that come up?
That is in a little bit.
Okay, we'll get to that.
I do have it in the notes.
Good.
So yeah. Apparently they're allowed to convince them, and it's like, huh? You won't believe? You will believe it. Don't you worry. So yeah, maybe do something with that kind of.
Someone asks if M. Night Shyamalan makes a cameo in this movie. He does.
Does he?
In one of the news, when they turn on the TV, before they go, breaking news, pandemic. I think there's like a television program of people cooking. It's like a cooking show.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the chefs on the cooking show.
Oh, okay.
Because he's one of those directors that insists on being a cameo in every one of his movies.
Fine, I guess.
Yeah, he heard that Alfred Hitchcock did that, and he's like, I'm gonna be like him. I'm gonna do the same thing. It's like, sure, buddy. Whatever you say.
Okay.
I think he's done it so many times at this point that he can't not do
it. He's committed to the meme now. He's like, I'm not doing it now. People, that's what the people want. You need to give the people what they want. Oh my god. And yeah, also Andrew asked Eric if hey, do you believe them? He's like, no, I don't believe them. He's like, hey, I'm just checking in. You could cuss. I just want to see if you can still think straight.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell he kind of takes that personally a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe there's going to be some drama.
Yeah.
Not really,
but it would have been nice.
No, it would have been nice actually, because they keep setting it up, and it's kind of the only thing keeping me going through this section of the movie because it's such a drag. But they keep kind of hinting like Eric, Jonathan Groff, is the one who's going to start to believe them. Meanwhile, Andrew is going to be steadfast in his denial. And they sort of do that a little bit, but I thought, okay, like, there's going to be a fight between them at some point. Mm-hmm. They're trying to drive a wedge between them or something, or that's going to happen whether they intended it or not. Not really.
No,
not really.
They also kind of talk about, like, hey, we need to get to... Oh, yeah, I didn't mention that earlier, but they do have a gun in their truck.
Yes, when the cabin invasion starts... He's like, I need to get my gun. And Eric's like, you brought your gun with you? And it's like, yeah, but it's not in the house. It's in a safe in my truck outside. So they haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, now that they're tied up...
Hey, but if you wonder how he got that gun, we got a flashback for that. So I got you covered.
Why? I didn't need that. It's not unreal. It's like the movie thinks, well, we won't believe he has a gun if we don't explain how he got it.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
it's not
can believe he just has a gun.
Yeah, because this is in America, and a lot of people have guns for home defense.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the reason he has it. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like, that's fine. But no, we have to, it's like, oh, he got attacked by that one homophobe, and now he's angry at the world and wants a gun. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and he's still very, very resentful about it, which, you know, obviously getting a bottle smashed over your head at a bar by someone who doesn't like that.
Which I found hilarious. Yeah. There's one bottle and then he gets smashed with another one when he's on the ground. I'm pretty sure that happens.
Yeah. So, you know, he's at a bar. They're at a bar, the two husbands.
Yeah.
And they're having a good time, you know. Just being
I think
themselves.
They're just kind of talking about their flaws, like, oh, you're a bit of a hothead. It's like, yeah, but you're a bit boring. It's like, haha.
Oh, yeah, they're having like a, you know, say the worst thing about the other person so we can see if we still want to get married or something like that conversation. And then a homophobe comes up and he's like, what does he even say to them? Something.
Oh, he just goes over there and it's like, hey, can you quiet down? Just want to have a drink here.
I'm trying to have a drink here.
He's a bit of a prick, but he's loud? Like not that. I don't know. Whatever.
And he tells them to fuck off or something like that.
Andrew tells him pretty aggressively to fuck off, and then he comes back with a bottle or two and just smashes him over. So okay.
Yeah, and then he goes on his Joker arc where he's bitter at the world and he's like, I'm gonna buy a gun.
Well, here's the thing. Man, I can't. Whatever. Here's the thing. They tried to tell us this is like some homophobe problem that happened. But there's no homophobia happening there.
Well, I think the implication I thought was pretty clearly like they weren't being loud or any sort of annoying, but he came up to them like, hey, can you stop being gay? I'm trying to have a drink here. No, I'm serious. I'm pretty sure that's the whole idea. It's like,
I guess so, but...
Can you stop being gay in front of me? I'm trying to have a good time.
Can you stop being gay?
I mean, it's a little cartoony.
But I wish you would have said that. That would be great. It would be funny as shit.
That would have been... Yeah, if the movie was more committed to being kind of absurd, that would have been much better. If he was just like, hey, can you go be gay somewhere else? You queers, or whatever he says, you know? Instead, it's like, hey, can you keep it down? And like, we weren't being loud. It's like, I'm trying to have a drink here. It's like, so the implication is that it's because they're gay.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense the way he phrases it.
Just sounds as a thing you could just say to anyone and then be angry at them as well and smash them.
You know what it's a little bit like is in Karen when
right,
like they're laughing and having a good time. It's like, can you guys keep it down? Can you guys stop having fun in front of me?
In a weird way, I'm so happy that movie exists. It's such a funny movie.
Oh, Karen?
Yeah.
Oh, I laughed so hard watching Karen.
We did. I mean, we did movies on it. It was.
I know. I edited it.
Oh yeah, right. I remember.
Yeah. So I had to watch the movie. I don't know if I had to, but I decided to watch the movie on my own so I could fully understand the cringe.
Oh,
and I was like, glad I did.
It's so funny. That was a random one
we just
put in that arc we did for Halloween.
Final Destination, also Karen.
Yeah. Because we mutually flubed up some time stuff. And then I think Adam wasn't there for like 2 hours. So it's like, well, we're all here. You got any other movies to watch? And we got that one. Oh, it was great. Times. That was great.
Yeah, see, that is a consistently funny bad movie.
Yeah.
So bad it's hilarious. Unfortunately, Knock at the Cabin is not that. It has its moments of funny.
Yeah.
Funny bad, and even some like intentionally funny that actually works. There's moments of that, but it's not enough to keep you going. So anyway, these flashbacks, we find out that he was assaulted once for being gay.
Yeah.
And he has a gun now. Neither of which really meaningfully impact the story at all. Neither of which were necessary. He could have just had a gun, and I'd be like, all right, he has a gun.
Yeah.
It's really
the only thing I think the only thing that happens with this is like he's so angry about that he just basically thinks everyone hates the gays.
I think what they're trying to do with that is he's really bitter and resentful at all of humanity.
Exactly.
Because his parents don't approve of him being gay, and neither does some rando at a bar. But one of the things that confused me about that is that I think he's supposed to be a human rights lawyer.
Right.
That's what he does for
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if someone who's like really motivated and genuinely interested in like protecting the human rights of other people would just hate all of humanity.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Especially, you know, if he doesn't want all, like, he's so willing to let everyone else die, and he says it over and over again. I'd rather everyone else died than kill someone in my family.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, what about all the people that you commit your life to protecting their human rights?
You they would think die he too.
Would care. Yeah, apparently.
I don't like.
Yeah, he that doesn't really jive with the fact that he hates all of humanity.
Yeah,
you know, he would seem to hate, I don't know, the oppressors or something, but like not everybody. He doesn't seem like a misanthrope, really. That's what they're trying to do, but I don't really think it works.
Yes. Right. I think I kind of jumped ahead. I don't even know where we.
Yeah, we're jumping around a little bit,
which is fine. Okay. That's fine. Just need to find where. Oh yeah, they also kind of make a plan to then get to that truck.
Right.
Because he realizes, oh, my ties are a bit loose, so I can probably get my hands out. And
yeah. So here's the thing that kind of bugged me. So they've decided that they're actually going to start scheming about a way to get out of this situation, and they do it when everyone's walking about in the daytime. Everyone's awake now. It's like, you didn't try to whisper this to each other while you were asleep, or like while everyone else was sleeping or something.
Yeah, that would have made a lot of sense, because we had this whole thing we skipped in the nighttime where we could have done that, where it's less stupid.
And instead they're whispering to each other, and I'm like, I feel like everyone else could probably hear you, or at least hear that you're whispering to each other.
Yeah.
This is a consistent pet peeve of mine, is that movies just, when they don't understand how sound works, they don't understand how loud things are, it drives me crazy. It's like it's probably my biggest pet peeve, and it's like, they can hear you.
You must love that part in John Wick 2 where they use their silencers in the subway.
Oh, I haven't seen the movie, but I have seen that scene. It's terrible.
The movie is so bad. Chad, I swear the movie that video is gonna come out at this decade, maybe.
Maybe. Don't hold your breath unless you can hold your breath for a decade.
Yeah. It's really bad.
No, and so they're whispering to each other, devising a plan, and it's perfectly obvious that they're scheming. No one else in the room seems to hear or care, but that's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
So Eric
also tells
conveniently, I would say.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, dang, I go ahead. Okay. Eric tells Wen's like, "Hey, remember that thing you did Thanksgiving? Do that when I nod." Is, I think, the idea.
Yeah, that's their code.
And we learn it's just screaming. So basically, just
throw a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
She's going to be a distraction later. But conveniently, Andrew's knots tying him up aren't tied very well. You think the vision would have been more specific about how to tie a good knot? That's fine.
No.
And then Eric, I think, convinces Wen, who they didn't tie up, even though they absolutely should have tied her up, to grab him a knife. And she does. And I think she gets that either.
I think she gets that during the breakfast Adrian makes for her.
True. Yeah, so she has a knife and she gives it to him.
Yeah,
and then just like the whispering, he starts trying to cut the rope that's holding his hands behind his back, but he's like moving and jittering as he does it, because he's also
not against the wall or something. They're kind of in the middle, like a bit farther away from the wall, so you can easily see from the side something is going on.
And like his whole body's shaking because he's trying to cut. And they don't notice that at any point either.
I think
they just probably think he's seizing.
I think at some point Wen is kind of covering him from the front a little bit, but that's later.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely not enough.
So it's time to scheme and try to figure out how to get out of here. Is it before or after they kill Adrian or Adriana, whatever her name is?
Them getting out is after.
Oh, it's before that.
It's
before that.
Because first Wen just starts to run away, but gets captured basically instantly again.
There's a lot of scenes where they're really desperate for there to be suspense. You know, this movie only offers a few things. There's some funny moments. So there's humorous scenes that I wish there were more of. There's suspenseful scenes, and there's like very heavy, dramatic, emotionally manipulative scenes. and none of the suspense scenes work at all for me. Really, the first initial home invasion is not bad. That's when I still thought the movie was okay. But at one point, she runs away and she's like hiding, and it's like, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna get away? And then she just gets caught instantly. And I'm like, cool, that was a waste of time. Thanks.
Right.
But definitely before they kill Yellow Shirt Lady, he manages to get away and go try to grab his gun, right?
Let's see here. So we got so she runs away, gets captured again, which just, I don't know, doesn't take very long. Then Andrew tells him, I recognize that Redmond guy. I think he's that homophobe that attacked him at a bar many years ago. So this,
what are the odds of that?
This is probably just some crazy revenge plot against him. So they have to hurt each other. And this is also where Andrew says that he's a human rights attorney. And then he says something like, if Leonard wants to make a case to save humanity, he says like, what about the children that lie in piles of corpses and have been tortured? If you want to make a case, you're gonna lose or something. I don't know.
I don't know what he's referencing, but they're trying to make him hate humanity and life itself. And it's like, what about all the suffering?
Yeah, it's like, what? I thought you don't care about,
I don't know, man.
I don't even know why he starts. I'm so confused by him bringing that up. Even like,
very strange.
I don't know how that helps him. It's just,
I don't know. Okay, if you care about all those poor suffering people, then maybe you would be willing to sacrifice a member of your family or yourself. It's so strange that neither of them really go, well, I'll sacrifice myself, until very late in the movie. No one even seems to have that thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, I won't kill anyone in my family to save the world. It's like, well, okay, what about sacrificing yourself?
Yeah.
It doesn't even come up.
No.
Not even a conversation.
Yeah. I'm getting annoyed now that you mentioned that, actually. It's like, yeah, what shouldn't you just be like, you'll kill me if this happens? It's like, there's a lot of wasted opportunities in this movie.
Yeah. And you know what movie actually does a much more meaningful job of exploring this issue of all things is Infinity War. Because the whole thing in Infinity War is Thanos is like testing them over and over and over again. It's the same test basically on every person. It's like, will you kill someone for the greater good? And they won't do it. And he sees that as weakness, but really like what it ends up being about is that being willing to sacrifice yourself to save the world. Because sacrificing someone else to save the world is immoral. Like that's kind of the whole point of that movie. You know, they kind of botched it. They botch it in Endgame a bit, but that's the basic idea. And here, they don't even have a conversation about that. It's so strange.
Yeah. Lame.
So, and then we're getting ahead, but Andrew's like, I think Edmund, or was it Redmond or Edmund?
Redmond.
Anyway, Redmond was the guy who actually assaulted me back in the day. And spoiler alert, eventually he'll find out that that's true. But what does that change exactly?
I don't know. I really
don't know either.
I'm very confused about that.
So what are the odds of that guy is one of the guys who got the vision 4 out of however many millions of people?
Yeah.
I don't know how any of that works.
No idea. But yeah, after Andrew makes his speech about human rights, Leonard just shows him a picture of the children he coaches. And basically says, if you would hear them laugh, you would understand why I'm here, to make the apocalypse not happen. Which makes him much more relatable than our so-called protagonists, I guess. Because I don't want to do this, but I kind of have to, so all these people get to live. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. No, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you convince them. Because I like I said before, like I believe this whole time basically that what they're talking about is going to be real.
Right.
It just seems like the direction the movie is going to go in. I would have been happily surprised if they changed it, but I'm like, okay, so what they're saying is real, and I'm just rooting for Leonard to convince them.
Yeah.
I'm like, Come on, Leonard, you can do it. You can convince them.
And then he turns them towards each other. It's like, hey, maybe you can sleep better if you look at each other. And this is where they could have talked about their little plan, but they didn't. They do it the next day. Because this is where they try to plan to do more shenaniganders to escape. And this is where Wen puts a knife in Eric's hand so he can start cutting the ties. And then she's doing the ruckus, and when Eric nods. And
and her ruckus is really bad too. She just starts. The idea is that she's supposed to be throwing a temper tantrum, but I literally cannot understand anything she's saying.
No, well,
it's just like.
It's just yelling.
She starts screaming.
They're like, please stop yelling, stop it. There's a funny bit here though, because Leonard goes like, okay, stop. 1, 2. It's like we're children. It's like, if I get to 5, you get to go to timeout. But he goes like to 3. It's like, okay, I want to start over again. It's like 1.
Yeah. He's tried. He's trying so hard to make this movie fun and interesting. No one else is backing him up, but that's all right. So then, Andrew gets loose, right?
Well, in between, there's a conversation between the two as well, where he kind of, it's like they want to decide, and this is where Eric is like, hey, maybe they're onto something, maybe they're doing these things, and this is where Andrew points out, hey, these things, they're just conveniently lined up for them. They just put it in their narrative, like he's been checking his watch this whole time. So they're just kind of fucking with us. So you need to get your head straight, Jesus. And,
Eric's theory is that all the things they've been showing them on the news are not live. They've been pre-recorded. Yeah. Right? Isn't that his idea? And I'm like,
either that or they just timed it perfectly for the narrative to fit. Because this is where he points out, it's like, these pandemic cases have been reported on for months. Then the tsunamis are basically a coincidence, and this kind of leads into Eric going like, okay, I understand now. I'm back on our side. This is where he nods, and this is where she goes like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then they kind of both try to break out at once. Eric remains tied by his legs to the chair,
right?
But he manages to get his hands free. He has a knife, and he's like, "Back off! Stay away from me!" And meanwhile, Andrew manages to get completely out of his ropes. Apparently, it wasn't that hard to do, and he makes a run for the door.
Well, not a run, a walk.
Oh, true.
Well, the idea is they have been on this chair for like 1.5 days now, so obviously circulation wasn't that great.
So he goes to his car to try and get the gun, and the one lady is like, "Hey, come back here! I don't want to have to hurt you." She like hits him in the leg with one of their weapons, and is like, "Look, I don't want to have to hurt you any more than that. Please come back inside."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's in the car, and he's got a safe that the gun's in. But like, I don't know, it's like a thumbprint scanner or something.
Yeah.
It's not working.
It's not working properly.
All these things that are trying to milk this moment for suspense, but it just doesn't work for me.
It's pretty funny. I think I've seen that exact gun safe in a lockpicking lawyer video before, where he picks it with like, I don't know, a piece of a Red Bull can or something in like 2 seconds.
That's funny.
There's a lot of really bad locks out there, which is kind of interesting.
He's trying to get his gun out, and he finally gets it open, and he's got the doors closed and locked, and she's trying to break in through the window.
Yeah.
And then he pulls the gun out, and it's not even loaded, which I don't know. I don't have a gun myself, but if I were going to keep it locked in a safe, I might just keep it loaded.
Well, at least the magazine loaded. You probably won't have that mag in there.
Right, just so you can be ready. It's already taking you long enough to get it out of the safe.
Yeah, I maybe that's how you have to do it. I have no idea though. Probably not.
Either way, it's taken him a long time. He's got to load all the bullets in there, and she's breaking in through the window.
Just kind of punches his leg with the other end of the weird weapon she has.
Yeah.
And he's like, just kind of going through. And then he quickly turns towards her, shoots, and misses?
I think he specifically shoots above her, was the idea.
Okay.
He fires a shot to be like, hey, get the fuck away from me.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
I didn't actually mind this because he doesn't seem like he wants to kill anybody, but he just has the gun for self-defense. So he's like, I don't want to kill you. Please just back the fuck away from me. And they come back, don't they? He kind of comes back into the house with her at gunpoint. Is that how it goes?
No, she just starts running away into the woods.
She runs away. Yeah. She's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
And then he goes in with the gun, and they're just kind of doing the thing. Let's see.
He has it pointed at Leonard, right?
Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes. There's some stuff in here we haven't even talked about. It's fine. We can do that after. Yeah, so he goes in there, tells Leonard to fuck off and says, well, it's time for the next sacrifice, though, he says. It's like, I'm still not going to kill one another because, well, yeah, it hasn't been anything super convincing yet, of course. And then, for some reason, Sabrina just comes running into the room. She's like, and she gets shot immediately by Andrew. I was like, oh, okay.
So she gets shot, but then he doesn't shoot Leonard. And I got to be honest, at this point, based on what they've done to them so far, if you're Andrew and you believe wholeheartedly that these are bigots who are here to target you specifically because you're gay and they've threatened your family and they've killed each other and they're doing all this sort of horrible stuff, I don't know why you don't just shoot Leonard, at least in the knee, to like try to incapacitate him. He's a fucking big guy. You know, he's the physical threat, not that sort of middle-aged black woman you just shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why he did. She came running into the room like that. But still.
Someone should just point out, in my state, it's a felony to store a loaded gun in a car. By law, you must lock the gun and ammunition separately. But that just means real life is stupid, too.
Yeah, I'm not sure what state they're in.
Yeah,
probably Pennsylvania because M. Night Shyamalan puts everything in Pennsylvania because that's where he's from.
But yeah, before that, there's some other things because Adrian gets killed before they do their next this escapist attempt, and
wait, isn't that when she gets killed? Right then, she gets shot.
No, she's already no. Sabrina gets shot. I'm talking about Adrian.
Right.
Because she has right. Also, the day before they mentioned that they found each other apparently on a message board.
Yeah, that's not doing they say we found each other on a message board. And then, of course, Andrew, kind of rightfully so, is like, oh, they're all just have some weird shared delusion. And this is all...
He tells them that they're in an echo chamber, which I found a bit cringe, but...
Yeah, that's not quite the phrase for what's happening here. But it just seems like the writer was trying to be topical.
Yeah,
you know? This is like a sort of his theory is that this is a shared delusion.
Yeah,
you know,
he tells him like, you're just nuts. There was someone that said they were mind controlled in the past or something. I don't know if they were referencing someone from something from real life. But yeah,
I don't know.
It shared delusion or something.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, but
oh god, speaking of contemporary things, I saw a review of this movie that was one of the most cringe things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
it's from the New Yorker. Hold on, I just want to read you the headline real quick.
Oh, for this movie?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Someone with like terminal political culture war brain.
Oh no.
Writing a review of this movie. Where is it? It's the New Yorker. Where is it?
Goddamn.
Oh, here it is. Knock at the Cabin reviewed. Be nice. Oh, this is the headline. Be nice to the QAnoners or they'll do an apocalypse.
No.
It's like he's like, this movie's terrible because it's asking you to capitulate to QAnon doomsdayers. I'm like,
that's what you've taken from that movie. You fucking
it makes no sense because first of all, the people breaking into their house in this movie are not causing the apocalypse.
No, they're trying to stop it, actually.
Yeah, and the whole point is that they aren't actually here targeting them because they're gay. But the person who watched this movie has like terminally online culture war brain, and it's just it's rotted their mental faculties.
Fun stuff.
Good stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they have to do their second decision, and they obviously say, nah. And Adrian is not happy with that. It's like, she basically begs them to do the right decision, because she didn't want to mention it, but I have a son. He's named Charlie, and he likes pancakes. Which it was just unintentionally
so
funny, because that's what she mentions. Like, his name is Charlie. He likes pancakes.
I didn't want to have to pull this card, but I have a son. It's like, yeah, I mean, that doesn't change anything, actually. Also, you're the one who's gonna die. Like, it's your choice. It's to kill each other while you're waiting for us to make a choice. So you don't have to do that.
I mean, Andrew even points that out, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you have a choice. You can just fuck off. It's like,
you don't have to do any of this.
Just don't do that.
I don't know if okay, so if the idea is you have to make a sacrifice of one of your own, or the whole world will die, I don't know how much it really changes things to go, oh, by the way, I have a son. It's like, yeah, there's so many sons out there. That doesn't really change the calculus here at all.
She also says, like, I had to see him die in fire this whole time, every night, because of
part
the
of her
apocalypse.
vision,
Yeah, and she can't get the screams out of her head. Andrew just has to walk away, and we'll see that there is nothing that will happen. And you know what? With the information that I have, I agree. Probably nothing happens if she doesn't get yeeted. But hey, there we go. And tells him, like, do you have to see just some crazy suicide cult? Come on.
To the person in the chat who said, with each sacrifice they unleash a plague, aren't they causing it? That's sort of... It's very confusing. They make it seem like the sacrifices help give them more time to decide, because as Metal points out, but it's confusing because Metal's already pointed out that like the plagues and the God, what's the word? The tsunami and the earthquake happens kind of before and irrelevant to the fact that they're sacrificing themselves. It doesn't seem to do anything. It doesn't seem to be clear that they're causing the apocalypse by sacrificing themselves or giving them more time. It seems to have no effect on it at all. Very strange.
It is very strange, yes. But yeah, then she gets yeeted. Yeah.
And that's when we go to the TV and see that the pandemic is happening.
Pandemic is
targeting the kiddos. Oh no.
Only children 10 and below. And they say that there are multiple pockets of the world being isolated already. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's why I don't know why it's Cape Town, South Africa, Nashville, Tennessee, and then somewhere in England, but okay. Sure, why not?
And then Eric points out the glowy flames he's seen, and then Andrew tells him, okay, you need to calm down, you're heavily concussed. Also, these things has already been on the telly this whole time, so they're just making it part of the narrative. I already said that. So yeah, so far this could also just be coincidence. They just put it in the right order for them. We'll see. Like my notes is like, I still want to know why they have to die each day.
It doesn't seem to have an effect at all, so who knows. But then obviously I think it's the next day when they kind of break free and he grabs the gun, right?
No, this is all the same day now. They just speed it up on the same day.
Right.
Yeah. Because then the ruckus happens, because after Eric is like, okay, I'm clear-headed now. They do the whole thing we already talked about with the gun and everything.
Grabs the gun, shoots the other lady because she goes and runs at him. Not sure why she does that, but she does. And so she gets shot. And then instead of shooting Leonard, which would, I think, have been the smart and reasonably justifiable thing to do, he's like, I don't want to shoot you, which, I understand why he doesn't want to kill anybody.
Right.
But he probably should at least incapacitate Dave Bautista.
But
instead, he's like, I'm going to lock him in the bathroom And I'm like, I don't know if that's a smart idea. But he puts him in the bathroom and he locks the door and he goes, haha, now you're trapped in the bathroom. And then immediately we hear a smash like, oh, he went out through the window. It's like, great plan, guys.
Yeah. And then they look in, it's like, oh, well, wait, that window is actually pretty small.
I don't know if Dave Bautista's fitting through there. He's a big dude.
And well, he isn't. He's kind of checking the thing, and you see the curtain of the bath is
moving.
It's moving. It's just shut off, and he just fucking shoots around randomly in there and just hopes, I guess. And then he checks, and he gets immediately overwhelmed by Leonard.
Dave Bautista. He tackles him through the shower curtain, grabs the gun from him. And at this point, I'm rooting for Dave Bautista. I'm like, I'm on his side.
Come on, make them kill themselves. Do it.
Because he does kind of a smart thing. He smashes the window so they think that he jumped out through it. And then he comes in and he ambushes him and he gets the gun back. He's fairly competent.
Yeah. And
he could be trying harder to convince them, but other than that, he's perfectly all right as a character. And I kind of like the absurdity of him as a character. So he's a giant burly guy. He tackles him and he grabs the gun with ease. And then you see him kind of like sheepishly put his glasses back on. There's little funny moments like that I'm like, oh, he's trying to make this interesting.
But also before that happens, Andrew actually checks Redmond's body and gets his wallet and sees that this is the guy that that attacked him.
What a massive coincidence that doesn't really affect anything. I mean, I guess it's more motivation to him that this is them being targeted, right? But like, what a crazy coincidence because spoiler alert, all these visions and apocalyptic stuff are all real, by the way. This is all real. So the fact that they all four of them got visions to come to this random house and to meet here and with very specific instructions. And of all the people who end up being chosen as these weird 4 horsemen of the supposed apocalypse, one of them just happens to be a guy who assaulted him once.
Yeah. And here's the thing. When you do this crazy coincidence, right? This is accepted for the sake of the argument. Or the thing.
Yeah.
Why do you just kill him off at first?
It's such a waste. Why do it at all?
You can have, because I think what they try to say at the end, because at the end they get the car of the group that's out there because they got rid of the tires and everything of their car. They flattened them.
Yeah, they slashed them. Yeah.
You see like all these things, like a picture of Charlie and I think something from Leonard, and then there's also like an employee pass from Redmond.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they're trying to say is, people can change and turn around, and they can get over themselves, whatever. You could have put that in your story in here. Like, he could have been the second to last, and then he sees somehow, it's like, oh shit, you are the guy.
Yeah.
And then he's like,
it's not even clear.
That's
it's not even clear that Redmond recognized him.
Yeah, I think the only thing we could say is like, oh yeah, that same sex thing, that was a surprise, for sure. I think that's what he says, but it's not like, apparently he doesn't even recognize him. So I don't know.
And also, if he was more homophobic as he was, it's such a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, you can do lots of things with it, where they just kill him off.
Yeah, they just kill him off, and then what is achieved by this in this story as it's written?
I don't know.
I feel like we're just filling time. I feel like that's meant to be a twist, but I don't actually understand what that affects at all.
I think it would have been much more interesting if he wouldn't have been the guy. It was just some random.
Yeah, that could have been interesting.
But then I don't even know what you would do with that at that point anymore.
I don't know. All it really serves to do.
If it's just go ahead.
All it really accomplishes is it makes Andrew more steadfast in his belief that this is all bullshit.
Yeah,
we're being attacked because we're gay.
But I think at this point, we're starting to wanting to convince him, right? So if at this point you just see the wallet and it's like, oh, this is just some random guy, he just looks kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this isn't just a crazy revenge plot against me and my family. Maybe this is something else. Because right after this, we get the whole scene with the planes, which is funny. But
oh god. So yeah, the planes start basically right after Lady in the Yellow Shirt gets killed, right?
Yeah, because apparently when she gets shot by them, that still counts as a sacrifice. Or whatever they do, I don't know.
Well, then that just implies that they're causing it.
Yes,
right?
Because she dies, and then all the planes around the world start falling down.
Oh, it's so contradictory. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why are they doing it? If they don't want the apocalypse to happen and they're there to prevent it, why did they do the ceremonial killings that seem to that progress the whole apocalypse? I don't understand.
It's.
But anyway, after she dies, yeah, we turn on the TV again and we see very comically all the planes are just falling out of the sky. It specifically said that none of them put out any distress calls.
Yeah.
They just all simultaneously fell. Now, here's the thing. I haven't flown a giant plane before, or any plane for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I would assume that when they're at cruising altitude and they're just kind of going on their way, that if, I don't know, the people on board were randomly raptured out of the plane, that it wouldn't just crash immediately. Right? Like, don't they just kind of coast at a certain altitude if nothing happens?
Yeah,
until they run out of fuel or something.
They still have their aerodynamics and everything, so.
But the way they fall is so funny. They kind of go what?
Yeah, they just kind of go sideways sometimes as well,
and upside down and twirl and all these things. It's like whoever was on the plane, like immediately passed out on the steering wheel or something. And it caused it. I don't understand. But what we're told is that simultaneously all these planes started falling out of the sky. No distress calls, no warning, no explanation. So as soon as that happens, I'm like, okay, so this is something supernatural. This isn't just a coincidence, because there's no reasonable explanation for that.
Because this is the first one that has like an instant effect. And yeah, there's like the news station again, and they say, well, it's up to 700. And then they kind of go back. It's like, oh, the heavens are crushing down like pieces of mirror. And they realize, oh shit, there might be something going on. It's the apocalypse. Oh my God.
Of course it is.
Yes.
That's the other thing. They're like, I don't know why they're like, oh, planes falling out of the sky. That's kind of like the sky itself crashing, right? I don't know. I guess.
Bit of a
Doesn't really
fine.
matter. It's all apocalyptic, but who knows at this point? Who cares?
Yeah, and this is where Andrew just kind of is like, no, I don't want to believe it. Just has to be some horrible, unexplainable coincidence. And that Leonard just pointed out, oh, but you don't believe that, actually, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eric is already like, yeah, okay, something is up. Like, this is real. We gotta do something. And then.
So what do they do, Metal? What do they do?
Well, first, Leonard talks beat for beat with what the news reporter says. It's like, oh, I recognize this. I've seen this in my vision. Funny. And then he just says all the things she says, and it's kind of on beat, and then sometimes a bit off beat.
Yeah, but he's always like ahead of it. So he's like, see, I don't know why he didn't do that to them earlier. If that's supposed to be proof, he could have tried that earlier.
Yeah, but I guess this is the only vision he had from this. Maybe. I don't know if the other ones had visions like that. Probably not. That would probably be a very good thing to start with. Like, oh, I actually know what happens here if you don't do that. It's like,
yep.
But yeah, they're just like, hey, so it's time for the next decision already. Let's do this one outside, by the way. I was like, oh, okay. So they go outside, and he just tells them about teaching children. He's like, hey, the best part about teaching children is that they believe you anything, so you have to be very careful what you tell them, and have to believe that it is the absolute truth. And
it's like, okay, that's, good advice, actually. I don't understand why it's relevant. There's a few things like that in this movie that in isolation aren't bad. Like when one of the flashbacks we get that's also unnecessary is them showing up to the lake, and they're like, oh, what a nice, serene, idyllic lake we're going to hop in, and the one guy, he hops in straight away in his clothes, and the other guy is about to, and he's like, wait, let me take my cell phone out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Because he's more uptight, he's more cautious and pragmatic. And it's like, this is all fine, but it doesn't, it's so unnecessary. You know what I mean? And something else, it's a perfectly fine little detail, but it doesn't add anything. It's kind of useless.
Yeah.
It's just same with
them arriving.
Same with Leonard giving advice on how to handle children. Like,
yeah.
Children are great, but they'll believe anything an adult tells them within reason. So like, it's a awesome responsibility you have. It's a beautiful thing, but you have to be really careful. And you can only say things to your kids that to be 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, that's pretty good advice, but why? Why are we doing this? What does that?
Yeah,
what does that accomplish? How is that relevant to anything?
I don't know, because right after that, I'm pretty sure he's just like, so you made a decision, and they don't say anything, and I guess he sees that as I guess that's a no. And he tells him also before that, it's like, after I've done this, you have like mere minutes to decide, otherwise they are all doomed.
Mm-hmm.
And he says,
okay, bye, good luck.
He says like, okay, GG, all humanity has been judged, and cuts his throat.
Yeah, he slits his own throat, and it's like, okay, all right.
And yeah.
So now they're left to make a decision.
Yeah, you see the sky darken, and there's like planes falling from the skies still. And there's also like lightning that sets shit on fire. Mm-hmm. And obviously,
and
when is not even in this decision making. It's just like, you go over to the treehouse and put your headphones on. We're gonna get you when this is over. So she's gone. She's fine.
And we finally get to have the conversation about this choice that they've just been delaying the whole time.
Yeah. And
basically what they decide is what makes total reasonable sense. Now that you understand that this is all definitely real, it's like, well, the one guy's like, you should probably kill me, because I, am willing to sacrifice myself to save the world. I know this sucks, but I'm willing to die, and I want you two to live on.
Yeah, Eric says, I saw something in a reflection. We get to know them. He saw that reflection thingy, and he's like, we got to know them and see their suffering to make this decision. And
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. He goes like, it's this guy. And he starts telling their last names as well. And it's like, how the fuck do you know the last names now? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. This is when he does the thing when he's like, they represent the four sides of humanity.
Yeah,
I think. The four sides of humanity apparently being Malice, who's Redmond.
Yeah.
And then nurturing, the cook lady is the nurturer. Healing, which is the woman who was a nurse, which I don't understand why nurturing and healing aren't kind of similar.
Yeah.
But apparently the four aspects of humanity are malice, nurturing, healing, and then guidance in the form of Leonard. And I'm like, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of reductive. Like if you were to pick four traits to represent humanity, I feel like you left out a few. But okay. Sure. And then he says, they're the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And I'm like, okay, well, it was, now it's really on the nose. And I don't think that's what the four horsemen of the apocalypse are even supposed to be in the Bible.
I don't
think
so.
I don't get it at all, man.
Yeah. But then Andrew says, no, they all hate us. They hate we exist. So it's like, he's so scarred by this encounter with the bigot.
And it's so strange because 3 of the 4 clearly don't hate them for being gay.
Yeah.
And they make that very clear.
Very, very clear.
Like, obviously, it's very upsetting to him that his parents don't approve. And that's clearly what's motivating a lot of it,
Yeah. But then Eric's response to that is just like, no, they're just scared. I was like, what? Huh? What do you... How would you say? It's like, no, you're just angry. Pretty much all the other ones were all fine. This one, yeah, but what? I don't know. It's just so weird that he said it that way.
Yeah, this argument makes no sense. first of all, like, I don't know why they haven't been talking about this for so long.
Yeah.
But now when it comes down to it, Andrew was like, no, fuck the rest of humanity because they all hate me for being gay. And it's like, I don't think they all do. I think it's 2022 and you live in America. I think most people don't actually hate you for that. But setting that aside, I don't know. They just make him such a misanthrope for no reason. It's like he just hates humanity and thinks it's all shit. It's like, why? You seem, I don't know. He doesn't feel real at all to me. I was kind of annoyed that he's the one who lives.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, Eric has had visions as well now, like proper visions, where he says like, "Oh yeah, Wen is gonna grow up great. She's gonna be exactly as we could have imagined her. She's gonna be great and a good woman. Find someone to love her, and she's gonna have you in her life."
We got a flash forward of her as an adult with an older Andrew.
And he's basically saying like, "Well, please kill me now while I have the peace of mind, because I'm cool with what happens. I have
the happy thought of her living a fulfilled life. Kill me now."
Yeah.
And so he kills him because apparently it's against the rules to just kill yourself, to sacrifice yourself. You have to make the other person do it for some reason. And then, hey, what do you know? As soon as he kills him, the apocalypse just stops. Like the most cartoonish way possible. So he grabs Wen after killing him.
Yeah,
and then
they go way to the car. Yeah.
Yeah, they're driving around. They're seeing smoke and fire from lightning and planes crashing. They go to a bar, or a little diner where they have the TVs on, and the TV programs are as unrealistic and funny as they have been throughout the entire movie. Like they're cutting around all these different scenes of people being like, like the hospitals are reporting that no more people are dying. It's like, really? They just all stopped at once? Okay, sure. Yeah. All these things like the airplanes have stopped falling from the sky and everything is great now.
The water just went back. It was a miracle. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much confirming that this is definitely supernatural and there's no other plausible, realistic way of interpreting it. They don't even get to play with the ambiguity there. You know what I mean? Because that could have been interesting if, like, maybe it all was a coincidence, Yeah,
but no, they just show us, like, no, everything is stopping. It's going to go great now.
Everything is perfect and wonderful again. And then they're not really saying anything. They get back into the car, right? And we should maybe set up that one of the flashbacks that we get that adds nothing really important is them driving up to the cabin and they turn on a song or they're listening to, is it called My Boogie Shoes or Boogie Shoes? It's in the trailer. It's an upbeat sort of Motown soul funk song. It's a good song. They're singing, they're having a blast, they're having a good time singing the song.
Yeah.
And after they've seen that, they saved the world, they get into the car and then they turn on the radio and that song just coincidentally happens to be on, or maybe it's their iPod and their phone and it's still on. Anyway, that song comes on and Andrew, who obviously it reminds him of Eric, decides to turn it off.
Yeah.
And then
Wen turns it on.
Turns it back on. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. It reminds Andrew of Eric, so he doesn't want to listen to it, but she does want to listen to it because it reminds her of Eric, so he decides to let her listen to it. And I'm like, okay. But then she turns it off. And then they sit in silence, and then he turns it on again. And I'm like,
what's happening? What's going on?
It goes on for way too long. It's because they made their point already. And then they just keep going back and forth with turning it off and turning it on. Yeah. Because I thought okay, we're going to cut to credits and this is going to be the credits song and it's going to be kind of a jarring tone, but maybe in a good way or an interesting way. But no, and then they drive away and the music fades away until we're just hearing the sound of the car driving. And then really over the top, dramatic, emotional score comes in. And that's the note it ends on instead. I'm like, that's lame. Yeah. That's such a lame choice.
Oh, also, after he killed Eric, I guess a lightning strike sets the house on fire as well.
Oh, yeah, the house burns down because, I don't know, the house burns down.
It's just what happens.
That's just what happens.
And that's the movie. There's nothing to guess. There's just...
There's no twist.
They saved it.
Yeah, the people that came and said that the apocalypse is coming, we're here to save it. The only way to save it is to sacrifice one of you. they were right entirely, and then they sacrifice one of their family, and that saves the world. The end. There's no twist in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. There's no twist. What is happening?
I guess people are gonna say the twist was that it is real, even though
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know.
That's not a twist. That's what we're given as a possible. Like, that's what we're presented with as if it's true.
Yeah.
And then it just is true. That's not a twist.
Yeah. It's a pretty stupid movie. Now that we went through it, it's pretty fucking dumb.
It is dumb. It's very unsatisfying. It's very boring in the middle.
And yeah, it's I want to see the book version. I want to see that one, or maybe just read the book.
Let's talk about that. We haven't really talked about that.
So what happens in the book? I think at the point where they have the little shootout, you can say, where they get a gun. Apparently in the book there's also something like that, a scuffle. But in that scuffle, Wen actually gets shot and dies.
Yes.
In the movie.
Now, if you're listening to this, you might be thinking, wow, that sounds way more interesting. And it is. It is way more interesting.
Because the thing that happens there is, from what I understand, they get really fucked off that she died for once. But also, I think only then they learn that, that doesn't count as a sacrifice. That's not enough to appease that higher being.
Yes, it wasn't an intentional sacrifice. It was an accidental tragedy, so that doesn't count. You didn't make the choice, right? So when dies in that scuffle, she gets shot. They're devastated, obviously, and they're like, "Nope, that's not enough. You still got to make a choice."
Yeah.
Which makes it way more interesting, because now the two of them are left. They're heartbroken because their daughter was killed. And then so I haven't read the book, but I read the plot synopsis.
Yeah.
Apparently, what kind of happens from that point on is when they eventually have to decide whether they want to kill one of them to save the world, it's more like, well, why would I want to listen to and appease a god that won't accept her death as sufficient?
And I think
I'm like, ooh, that's more interesting.
Yeah, and what I read is like they also don't really want to live without each other. The one doesn't want to live with the other one. And I think they actually just decide to, let everybody die and wander the earth forever together.
Yeah, well, they decide to not kill one of them to save the world and just let whatever happens happen. And I think the book ends before it's confirmed whether this was all real or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think the apocalypse happens at the end of the book, from what I understand. It's like, well, they're going to let whatever happens happen.
Right.
They're refusing to make that choice. And I'm like, that's a way better ending. It's way more interesting, if nothing else. I don't know if I would have loved that movie, but it would have been better than this. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Way more interesting and much more dramatic, of course, when she would have gotten killed. I was like, damn.
Absolutely. It seems like M. Night Shyamalan just refuses to like kill a kid in his movie. Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Because why would you change that? That just makes it so much more interesting. Because keeping her around, she's not relevant to anything that happens later. After the scuffle, there's nothing for her to do. She's just there. And then when it's time to make the big emotional decision, they just put her in a treehouse, so she doesn't have to hear the grown-ups make a tough decision.
That's lame.
She's not relevant.
Doesn't even get to say goodbye to her dad.
No, she doesn't.
It's just like, you go over there, and it's like, oh yeah, I killed him. So, man, that's rough.
So I imagine people that liked the book will not like this at all.
Sounds like M. Night read half the book and imagined the ending. No, I saw a bit from an interview where he said specifically he wanted to change it.
Oof.
Yeah, that was a decision. He knows about the book.
And that's a big change too. I would say not only does it dramatically change the story, I think it pretty fundamentally changes the implied themes and moral of the story.
Yeah.
Pretty drastically, almost the opposite of what it was supposed to be, or what it was originally. So that's a bold move, Cotton. Yeah, I don't think it worked out for him.
No, really didn't.
No, it seems to be pretty patently less interesting in every way, to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was actually shocked watching this. Like, man, there's not a lot happening here in the middle.
No, I thought we had
nothing. I thought there was some I mean, we already talked about this. There's some good things you just can talk about, the whole sacrificing yourself for all of humanity, and what you're gonna do with Wen, because Wen is just, I don't know, Wen's just kind of there for the movie. Then does the one ruckus, and then for the big decision, she just gets thrown into the treehouse and gets picked up.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why we killed off Redmond so early. That would have been a cool thing to have during the end, where they tried to convince him.
Why would you waste him?
As long as he convinced that he's the guy that attacked him, there's nothing they've done with that. So yeah, I don't know.
Nope.
It's just
lots of wasted opportunities, lots of wasted potential.
Oh yes.
A change from how the book was written that makes everything worse and adds nothing of value as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty bad decision. I mean, I'm all for putting your own twist on it, but this one is just so much worse from what I've seen.
Yeah, especially if, the movie gets made because there's interest in the book. And a lot of people seem to really like the book. It's won a number of awards in its genre and things like that. That's one of the reasons this movie gets made at all, and that anyone would be interested in seeing it, And so if you're going to change it that drastically, it's like, you can do it, but it's a high risk, high reward sort of thing, and you better have a damn good reason for fundamentally changing the nature of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. And considering how little people actually talk about this movie online, I don't think it left a big impression on anyone.
No.
I don't know. I don't see me talking about that movie ever again after today, to be honest.
No. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
I mean, one of the first things that's popped up in chat today is like, I'm surprised you're covering that movie. I was like, yeah, me too.
Well, there's just nothing else out.
We have Ant-Man is next week. There was something up, so I just checked what was going on, and this was on. So I just was like, hey, that sounds kind of neat. And it was pretty lame. Pretty lame. Don't watch the movie.
No.
The things that
at least with some other
pretty stupid
Shyamalan movies, they can be so bad they're funny or interesting. And apparently Old is like that. It's so bad that it's very funny. That's how it's been described to me. And there are other movies in his filmography that are like that. But this one is not funny enough in a bad way in a ironic or unironic sense to be enjoyable. The suspense and the supposed horror thriller aspects are very lame and tame and not very well executed. It tries to be very emotional, doing like a weird Sophie's Choice sort of thing where they have to make a sacrifice, but the rules are such it really undermines that for me. I'm not emotionally invested in their choice at all.
No, not really.
Because I don't know why, because what you expect to happen just happens. One guy goes, you know what, I'll sacrifice myself. That was the whole thing. It would have been way more interesting if if the movie didn't prove that everything they described about the apocalypse is actually real and not a coincidence. The ambiguity would have made it more interesting if they had to make a choice anyway. But because it's so obvious that it's real, basically from the beginning, but especially by the end, it's just like, oh, well, then you make the obvious choice. Yep. And then there they went. They made the obvious choice. The end. Cool. It saved the world. Hey, great. The end. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
It's definitely one of those movies where you want to have the end. Like, was it real? Wasn't it real? Was this all just shenanigans? Was it flimflammery? But no. They tell us, like, yep, everything went back. I don't think there's a lot of potential here to actually say, like, yeah, maybe, but it was still a coincidence. Like, I don't know. I don't think the movie thinks that.
No.
I'm pretty sure the movie wants me to believe, like, yeah, this was real. Especially considering in the trailer that, like, an actual being behind Redmond.
Yeah, it's not a good movie.
No, don't watch it.
No.
It's pretty weak. It's pretty weak sauce.
Yes.
I'm very happy Metal has added flim flam to his lexicon. Yeah, it's good. It's good. If it's good enough for Jean-Luc Picard, it's good enough for me.
I keep coming back to it, but I really can't I'm really shocked that there's not even a twist.
Yeah,
like, I thought that was his whole thing was a big twist.
That's true.
All his most famous, whether they're famous for being good or famous for being bad, they all have kind of crazy, wacky twists. Nope, can't even rely on him for that anymore.
Yeah.
What a shame. He can't keep getting away with it.
Still waiting like his career for Cocaine Bear. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna be covering that one already. I'm already out on my list. Should be fun.
I feel like his career is just gonna keep fizzling out unless he has a random hit again, like Split.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know. I feel like he's. I'm surprised his career isn't dead already. Honestly, it really should be.
But... Yeah. I don't know. This is This ain't it. This is not the one.
this ain't it, Chief.
This is probably gonna make his money back, and then he's just gonna do his next whatever he's gonna do.
Unfortunately,
maybe there not being the twist was the twist. Oh my!
I guess I wouldn't be surprised if he thought about it like that. You know, everyone expects me to do a twist, but this time I'm not going to. No, that'll show him.
He's made like two movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm happy for Dave Bautista that he's getting more opportunities to do unusual characters and
a more serious role. It just shows he can
has more dramatic range. Yeah. You know, he's good. He's good in the movie. He's the best part of it. It's not even close. And so I'm happy for him. It's a shame that the last two movies I've seen him in, he's pretty good in them, but he's not given a whole lot to do. It's this and Glass Onion.
Oh, no.
He's perfectly fine to good in Glass Onion, as good as anyone can be with that story.
With that character,
you know? And I would like him to... I want to see him do well. I want to see him do more things, and I would like to see him be in some good movies. That would be fun.
That would be great.
Other than Guardians, obviously.
Yeah. Oh god, I'm still having pretty high hopes for Guardians 3.
Yeah.
I kind of want it to be like really good, and then James Gunn just fucks off to DC.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a shot in the knee would that be?
Yep. Man. Here's your last good movie, MCU. I'm out of here.
Bye. I'm gonna make my own thing now. I know people are angry at me because I didn't keep Henry Cavill, but yeah.
That'll pass. If the person they get for the next superhero movie is good, and the next Superman. If the next Superman movie is good, people will forget that they hate him for.
I mean, Henry Cavill is now out doing his own thing. He wants to do a Warhammer thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him do other stuff too. He's good, so.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah, go watch another movie, not that one.
Go watch anything else, please.
Not
that there's anything else good out right now, but like.
Yeah, I thought it's gonna be much more interesting, but it's actually kind of lame.
Yep.
And
me too.
That's that about it. Yeah. That's
I'm just glad I didn't have to pay any extra money to see this.
Oh man. Good stuff. Well, not the movie, but in general.
No.
Good stuff.
Hey, I don't know, man. Still alive, so that's good.
Yeah. Endless trash. What do you mean? Ant-Man is coming. Oh shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, is there already a runtime for Ant-Man? I'm going to regret looking that up, aren't I? Ant-Man.
It's probably like 3 hours long. No, it's only 2 hours and 5 minutes. That's not too bad.
I expect it to be like 2.5 to 3, just because that's what they do these days.
Mm-hmm.
That movie's going to be shit. I have no hopes for that one.
It doesn't look good. No. Doesn't look good.
It's so funny. I asked a couple of people if they want to come on. I mean, you said you're not going to watch it.
No.
Everyone I've asked is like, nah, I'm not really planning to watch it. It's like, but yeah.
I haven't seen any of the Ant-Man movies, and I'm not going to start now.
I don't think it's going to be relevant. I don't think I'm going to have time to watch the other ones, but the movies don't care about each other in this phase. So.
No, they don't.
It's gonna be
Wasn't the one review? I think Mahler shared it on Twitter or something like that. Someone was like, "Ant-Man: Quantumania is really good if you don't expect it to be a conclusion to the trilogy, and
but
just
the beginning of
beginning of something new." It's like, please kill me. I don't.
So dumb. Metal is gonna be all alone. And actually, Mark is gonna join me. He's gonna watch it. He's gonna join me on that flormsh.
Poor Mark. Why would you do that to him?
So hey, cool. I asked him. I didn't force him. I asked him for this and the other one. And he's like, I'm gonna go watch Ant-Man. It's like, all right. Yeah. But hopefully after that one should be something good to cover, because then that's Atomic Heart. I hope. I hope that Gorm is gonna be good.
At least Michelle Pfeiffer is gonna be in Quantumania. I like her. Yeah, she's good in general.
Yeah, I'm gonna see when I do the Atomic Heart one, because that game comes out on the 21st. So I need to see when I can do the Forge, because I don't know how long the game is. But yeah, Battle is lying. He's forcing him to do it. Shh, shut up. I'm going to watch it solely because I haven't missed one yet, and I'm a masochist. Nice. It's coming out on my birthday. How do you think I feel? I'm so sorry. For all the MCU,
that wasn't very nice of them.
No. Of all the MCU movies I own, I have all Avengers, Civil War, and Ant-Man. One of those things is not like the other. One of these things doesn't belong. I want to see you and the guys at EFAB doing EFAB movies of Vampire's Kiss before the release of Renfield. I don't even know what that is. But I mean, it's not my decision. I'm just a silly guest. I'm a guest often, but I don't get to decide things for the most part.
Yeah.
Game's about 25 hours, I've heard. I can knock that out in a week. I mean, it's just going to be a lot of gaming streams. I'm sure everyone is going to be very sad about all these streams.
It's one thing they hate. It's you streaming.
You're like, oh, Battle's going to stream? Fuck.
It's my least favorite thing he does.
Oh. Anyway.
Well, even though the movie sucked, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Let's do them super chatteroonies. I think there were a couple that came in.
Oh, nice.
Let's do.
At some point you should have me on to talk about a movie that's good, or that anyone would be interested in. Maybe we'll start there, even if the movie's bad.
Oh, okay. We'll see.
Consider it.
We'll see. Maybe. I've already. Was that because he streamed today? Oh, damn. It's just gonna get worse. Oh, by the way, I got my physical copy of Armored Core 2 now. Not 2. Armored Core Nexus, the one I've been streaming. And pretty much mint condition. Works very nicely on my PlayStation.
Nice.
Also, my friendos, for my birthday, they bought me both the Horizon games for PlayStation 4. So that's pretty neat. So I have physical copies of those now as well. So if I finally have time to play them, I have both of them now. It's pretty cool as a little gift.
Nice. No, chat, I am not going to make Metal watch devs, because that would be cruel and unusual punishment.
I heard very good things about devs from everyone. I'm also a liar.
Maybe I will make you watch it then. Devs episode 4 review should be coming out sometime this month.
Whoa!
So stay tuned for that. It's been like 2 years since the last one, but I swear to God, I'm going to finish this stupid show. It's the last thing I do.
Nice. Right, let's see. Let's get those super chats. It's like 102. Yeah, there we go. It's $10 from Crusty Jugglers. That's a funny name. Have a hefty German beer from me, Mootle. Just watched your stream on Puss in Boots and made me super happy. Keep up the great content. Well, thank you. Thank you for checking that shiz out. Yeah, that Puss in Boots almost 25,000 views as well. I'm just baffled by those numbers. They're very not normal for me. There's a lot of people who watch that, but I'm happy people like it. It's cool stuff. Then we got one from Luke W. You 10 buckaroos. Hey Metal, you should check out the game Pizza Tower. It's a 2D platformer based on the Wario. I should probably sleep. Wario Land games. Jesus Christ, where you beat up a sentient pizza who's threatening to destroy your pizzeria with a laser. Oh my God.
Not a laser. Is it a sky laser?
I guess the pizza is going to be done after the laser is through there, but that's pretty cool. Oh, there's another one just came in. Daily Dose with the 2 buckaroos. Cap, thoughts on the Last of Us TV show?
I haven't watched it yet. Like a lot of TV shows, I kind of wait for them to be over so I can find out if they were good all the way through, and then I check them out. Because I don't like committing to a show for like multiple seasons only to find out that it doesn't stick the landing. That's why I prefer movies to shows generally. But if I find out by the end of season 1 of The Last of Us that, Mahler and them, because I usually trust their opinions on things. Yeah. If they say it's pretty good, then I'll check it out. I have a wait and see approach to shows.
I'm 2 episodes behind. I've been liking it so far. I heard 4 is really good. At least that's what Mutually said. So, yeah.
It seems to be pretty good so far.
And the next one is already released as well because they did it early because of the Super Bowl. So they didn't release it today. Yeah. I think they released it on Friday or something. So yeah, I'm 2 episodes behind.
You're not supposed to call it the Super Bowl. It's copyright. You have to call it the big game.
What?
Have you never heard of that?
No.
Yeah, so they can copyright strike you for saying the Super Bowl because it's copyrighted. So unless you're like one of the exclusive broadcast companies like Fox or whoever is broadcasting the Super Bowl, no other channel is allowed to use the words Super Bowl. They have to say the big game. It's really cringe.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It's pretty dumb. I don't know why they would do that.
Hate it so much.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. As Ultimate Fatty said, we said superb owl. Yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, Ultimate Fatty with the 5 buckaroos right now. I can't decide if Cap or John are my favorite EFAP guest. Oh, well, there you go.
Well, you better decide already because it's clearly me.
Oh, no.
Got him. No, John's cool too. John actually joined us on our channel for a stream talking about the hero's journey. That was pretty fun.
Nice.
He's a good boy. We like him.
Yeah, he's gonna be on for the Atomic Heart as well. Had him on for the
he's a gamer.
Dead Space remake as well. So I just grabbed Mark and John's like, "You want to do another game?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I think that does it. So we can wrap up here. What are you up to, Cap? I mean, you already kind of mentioned that you're doing the episode 4 thingy.
Episode 4 of Devs. I'm not working on that one at the moment, but my friend Hugh, who runs the channel with me, is working on that because I'm too busy to do that because I'm editing a certain horror franchise of EFAP movies.
Oh my!
That will come out in October. So that's what I'm spending most of my time doing.
I can't wait to find out what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if he announced it already. No. Those are going to be fun. It's a whole series of horror pictures, and
those are always
a wild ride.
Those are always a bit of a surprise. I think it's going to be a trailer again as every year for those ones. That's going to be fun. I love those trailers. They're fun. They're great.
Wait, it's not going to be a surprise to you. You were on it.
That was the joke.
Oh. Guys, I don't think you understand the joke. Let me explain it to you. I ruined it. Look, I understand. I ruined the joke, so if your favorite guest is John now, I understand.
Well, you played yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, the link to your channel is in the description, of course.
Oh, thanks.
Go check it out. And yeah, what am I doing? I mean, Atomic Heart is next. Ant-Man is next. Sorry, that's gonna be next week. I think I have my ticket for Wednesday. I think it's the first day. So I'm gonna be doing that. Probably gonna have to take a whole bunch of notes. I'm gonna be joined by Mark the Cyborg once again. We're gonna check that out on Le Friday, and probably gonna be on the EFAP for that as well. I think we actually already said I can join. If not, I won't. But yeah, that's probably gonna happen. I don't know why I willingly told him, hey, I'm around if you want someone on as well. I would love to talk twice about that movie. That sounds fantastic. So yeah, sometimes I don't know what my brain does to me, but that happened. Yeah, and during the week, I'm just gonna be playing some more Armored Core, because I'm really digging Armored Core Nexus so far. It's fun stuff. It's really satisfying, and yeah, gonna be playing more of them. And then at some point, Atomic Heart comes out. Gonna be playing and streaming a bunch of that. And yeah, just getting back in the groove now. I'm probably just gonna be going hermit mode for the next couple of weeks and just do a lot of work for the channel on top of my normal work. And then at some point I'm gonna pass out and die. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. March is gonna be awesome. There's so much happening in March. March is absolute hell month coming up. Mando, Shazam, John Wick 4, Cocaine Bear. That should be fun, but actually that should be fun. Yeah, I'm gonna do all kinds of things. It's yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy out here in YouTube land, all right? But you do what you gotta do. And yeah, that's it. Cap, thank you for joining me. Always fun.
Oh, no problem.
Always good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, chat, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the super chats. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you on the Gamer-Rooney streams and then Friday for Ant-Man. And yeah, that's it. Goodbye. Oh, God.